have a detailed briefing on what we have done as a response to Pakistan. So in that briefing rhythm, we can expect more details. One of the kind of response we have given to the response of India, especially after what we had said yesterday and had promised to respond to Pakistan.
And thirdly, I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 minute. As we're now being told, as the Foreign Secretary's briefing is going to be there, I'm going to, as we continue to stay with that breaking news, go across to Air Marshal Sanjay Kapoor, who's now Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, who's now joining us on this big breaking news. Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, we've seen a statement come out from the army where they've today said that there were military targets that were taken in North and Western India by Pakistan. They want to be focused, measured and non-escalatory. In fact, they've also said the armed forces targeted air defense radars at a number of locations in Pakistan. Indian response has been in the same domain with the same intensity as Pakistan. Has been learned. Air defense system in Lahore has also been neutralized. Now, this is very clear, Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, Air Marshal, that we have only tried to save ourselves. Our focus and our response has been focused, measured and non-escalatory. But I just want to read out one thing before I come across to you, which is coming right now. Yes, the MOD's response is also there. The Indian Armed Forces targeted air defense radars in various locations in Pakistan.
Yes, absolutely. And to recall, last night Pakistan tried to attack most of our airfields along the northern and their eastern borders. These were 15 in number, and the shelling, the intensity and the caliber of the shells has also gone up. So I saw it on your channels. There's a large amount of collateral damage to the civilians, to certain gurudwaras, to certain other civilian population. So in retaliation of the escalatory steps which the Pakistani armed forces have taken, today our air defense system came into action. So we have a very potent S-400, that is the Russian Triumph air defense system. So that was put in use. So most of the attacks which the Pakistanis did last night were thwarted. Their air defense attacks all were nullified. And today we have taken out their air defense. The heart of Pakistan, that is the general headquarters at Rawalpindi, the Lahore, which is supposed to be the heart of the Pakistani ecosystem, because everything there is controlled by the Pakistani Punjabis, and their capital is Lahore, and in and around Lahore, everything is, just secure. So if we have taken out the Chinese HQ-9 air defense systems and nullified it across 15 places in Pakistan, that indicates our, and we have physically not crossed. See, mind you, till now, the aeroplanes have not physically gone across the IB. So our drones itself have gone and taken out these targets. And this is a great step, because now their air defense system is in array, and this gives us the pockets to enter and strike at will wheresoever we wish to.
I want Air Marshal, please stay on with us. I also want to go across to Major Samarpal Toor. Like Air Marshal is telling us, Major Samarpal Toor, India has left Lahore's defenseless, hitting China-made missile shield. Now, what is HQ-9 or HQ-9P? This is the mainstay of Pakistan's layered air defense system. China relies on its HQ-9 when it comes to land-based integrated air defense system, but it's been completely smashed, whether it's been in Ghotki, Sialkot, but this time in Lahore, Major Samarpal Toor, it's been taken out by India.
You see, Rhythm, these are all tactical locations of the Pakistan military. And these are basically the proximity of the terror hubs are almost within the 5-kilometer vicinity of these Pakistani military installations. And, a clear-cut message has been given by carrying out pinpoint precision guided strikes, which is a clear-cut message that India does not want an escalation in this. we are just giving a message to the point by striking and, taking out the terrorists and their camps. And if Pakistan military is, going to back this up, back the terrorists up by, carrying out reciprocatory strikes at us, well, it is only going to make matters worse. So, today being the third day of the strikes and the last night what Pakistan has done. So you see now with their air radar systems taken out, their vulnerability has increased. So let's see by today what is the response. In case they want to mellow it down and they want to reduce the tensions, they should be mature in their approach. Probably that is going to be helpful for us and for the Southeast Asia and the peace in the region.
We're also getting more breaking news that I'm going to just go across to. This is big news that's also coming in, which I'm just going to break. Major Samarpal Tur and Air Marshal. But I want to stay on with what we've got right now. I'm not going to go across to how this attack happened because we're waiting for that. But Delhi launched a massive drone attack also. Israeli Harab drones were used. They're the most sophisticated drones. We're also being told details of those that have come in on what it is. And as I told you, this is something that we need to understand. Pakistan missile launchers details are also coming in right now on Republic TV. Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, if I could, sir, come across to you. Bhuj was targeted. Rajasthan cities were targeted. We're getting you that big details that are coming. Sir, we're calling this Operation Sindoor 2 because we have come out with a statement in which the Indian Air Force has said we wanted this to be focused, measured and non-escalatory. It's only we specifically mentioned Pakistan's military establishments have not been targeted. It is only reiterated any attack on India's military targets will have a suitable response. But Pakistan attempted to engage a number of military targets, Air Marshal, in northern and western India. And that's when the air defense system in Lahore had been neutralized by us, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday when we did our operations, we made it very clear in the brief that was given by the Foreign Secretary that this is a retaliatory step towards the Pahalgam massacre. So this indicated to the world that we have taken revenge by neutralizing the terror hubs and their headquarters and the people behind. Now, as I've been telling, and I was on your channel with Arnab the other day, and I was mentioning that the Pakistani army's narrative to their own people is so good. But in the age of social media, what has happened is all these attacks, the pictures, and the damage is doing around the people. So their people are asking questions that you have invested so much of money, time and effort.
Air Marshal, I'm just going to interrupt you, sir, for 1 minute. And as I said, there's the breaking news coming in. We're getting you exclusive details of Kashmir cities that were targeted from the Pakistan air base. We're telling you inside details of Operation Sindoor also. Inside details of India's gun locating radars identified locations of the missile launchers. Kashmir cities were targeted from Pakistan air base. Kashmir cities not only were targeted, exclusive government sources tell us the operation is still ongoing. Let me go across to Shavan Sen, our senior editor who's joining us with this breaking news. Shavan, give us more details.
Shavan.
Well, in fact, the details that we have right now are the operation. One, with regards to the cities that were basically targeted. Let me first begin with Kashmir, that Awantipura and Srinagar was targeted. This was from the Pakistani Air Force base that's in Raula Court. Moving on to the other places in Jammu and Punjab. This was targeted from Rahwali cantonment in Gujranwala. And as far as cities in Rajasthan are concerned, we are being told that this was from the Pakistan military base in Bahawalpur. And finally, as far as Bhuj is concerned, the attack was carried out. The missile launcher was from Sindh. Now, just more details coming in, the specific details as to the timings of the attack. In fact, we are being told that the gun locating radars that India has basically traced a certain movement around 1 o'clock this morning. Thereafter, you've had the sky Striker, one of the drones that was essentially used, because remember this is a drone which is developed in India, was actually used in the first operation itself, and we are being told that this had a 5 kilogram of warhead, which was basically used by these drones were essentially used to carry out the retribution. Now the other details also emerging at this point in time is that till about 7 o'clock in this morning is when specific places from where these missiles were launched was targeted by India. But the interesting point here, Niranjan, is that also getting a confirmation from our sources within the military saying that as we speak, the operation is still going on.
Well, just another question, Shravan, because you mentioned here that, it was not just along the international border. There are areas across the line of control. So across the border from Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir, across the border, it's still hot.
Well, in fact, if there is a pattern, the pattern is that each of the cities that have been targeted here in India are places where we have our military installations. So it is very clear as far as the Pakistanis are concerned, each of these places that they have targeted has some sort of a military significance, a military value. And these are for the Pakistanis certainly high value targets. And that is the reason why if you see the entire pattern that has emerged and the bases that have been used by the Pakistanis, these are active bases of the Pakistanis. Now, in retribution, what they've essentially done is they were hoping that their air defense system will be able to protect these areas, but it turns out we have a confirmation as far as Lahore is concerned and Sialkot. Now there are certain reports coming in for Rawalpindi too, where the air defense system has completely failed, and these were basically provided by the Chinese.
Okay, handing it back to you for now.
All right, there is a lot of breaking news that Shravan is getting us, viewers. We're going to continue coming back to that because Operation Sindoor 2 has begun. India has said our clear response is going to be focused, measured and non-escalatory. We stay with the breaking news. We'll be back after a short break. Stay on with us as all the latest breaking news, all the latest details on India's non-escalatory strike that we've done in Pakistan continues right here on Republic TV.
Summer is here. Is your home ready for the heat? Keep your roof cool and your home comfortable all summer with Roof Cool and Seal. पसीना मत बहाओ, बर्जर रूफ कूल एंड सील लगाओ.
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते.
Sir, fans हैं, शोर तो करेंगे ही ना.
नए वाले नहीं करते. And they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
Silly me, I thought.
Cricket fans.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला. सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप.
Of different weapon systems, because you cannot risk putting all eggs in one basket.
ये मस्जिद तैयबा उमरकरा के अंदर ये नुकसान है.
Not risk putting all eggs in one basket.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने.
पाकिस्तानी और इंडियन जंग शुरू कर दी है. अभी मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के जो है मदरसा है उसके ऊपर 4 मिसाइल दागे गए हैं. 4 मिसाइलों के साथ हमला किया गया है. मौलाना मसूद अजहर के मदरसे के ऊपर हम अपनी अफवाज पाकिस्तान के साथ खड़े हैं। लेकिन मेरा सवाल है कि हमारी एजेंसीज कहाँ सोई हुई थी, हमारी अफवाज पाकिस्तान कहाँ सोई हुई थी जब ये हमला हुआ। मुजफ्फराबाद की भी खबर आ रही है कि मुजफ्फराबाद वाली साइड पर ये अटैक हुआ है, लेकिन सबसे पहले मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर अटैक हुआ है ब्लास्टिक मिसाइल के साथ। उन्होंने हमला किया है, मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं। अभी ये कहना कबल वक्त है कि गोया कितनी सच्चाई है इस खबर के अंदर, किस साइड से ये मिसाइल आए हैं, ये अभी कंफर्म होना बाकी है। लेकिन ये कंफर्म न्यूज़ है कि उनके मदरसे के ऊपर 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
Summer is here. Is your home ready for the heat? Keep your roof cool and your home comfortable all summer with Roof Cool and Seal. पसीना मत बहाओ, बर्जर रूफ कूल एंड सील लगाओ।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Welcome back, friends. A day after India dismantled the terror infrastructure on Pakistani soil, we have taken down their air defense systems with Operation Sindoor 2.0 on as we speak, and it's not ending. The wrath of the Indian armed forces going full throttle on Pakistan. That's our focus. We'll get you more details. Let's begin with the headlines. It's not over yet. Operation Sindoor 2.0 now being carried out by the armed forces.
जिस प्रेसिजन के साथ यानी जिस सटीकता के साथ ऑपरेशन सिंदूर एग्जीक्यूट किया गया वह अनइमेजिनेबल है, बहुत ही सराहनीय है। इसमें 9 टेररिस्ट कैंप्स तबाह हुए और अच्छी खासी संख्या में आतंकी मारे गए।
Defense Minister Rajnath Singh issued a stern warning to Pakistan, says India is ready for more military response. India clinically intercepts and shoots down Pakistani missiles coming in Amritsar area.
It is not our intention to escalate the situation. However, if there are military attacks on us, there should be no doubt that it will be met with a very, very firm response.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar underscores India's policy, says we'll hit back if Pakistan strikes. And major success for India as Jaish-e Mohammed chief Masood Azhar's brother, who had masterminded IC-814 plane hijacking crisis, is killed. And Baloch Liberation Army releases full video of attack on Bolan. 14 Pakistani soldiers killed. All right, let's begin with breaking news development, and in which we're focusing on more details coming out from our sources about Operation Sindoor 2.0, which is still ongoing as we speak. Shawan is going to join us in a bit with more details. Kashmir cities were targeted from Pakistan airbase. Exclusive, we have sources telling us that the operation is still going on and India has neutralized one air defense system in Lahore and other places. We have taken down all the facilities that were being used to target Indian cities with the aid of drones. A massive drone strike was planned by Pakistan, which has been foiled by India's air defense and the missile defense systems and the unified command that monitors and is tasked with neutralizing any alien flying objects coming into India. Shawan, if you have joined us, can you share more details? What's this about? Is this part of Operation Sindoor 2.0? Is it ongoing? And what are the details? How did we neutralize Pakistani misadventure using drones a day after India carried out those strikes on 9 terror factories inside Pakistan?
Well, in fact, Abhishek, when I was just getting these details of from where these missiles were launched, I did ask multiple sources, and they say that as we speak, quote unquote, as we speak, the operation is still underway. Now, what do you really make of it? Does it mean that there is something that is brewing? Because there have been certain movements coming in from the Pakistani side, which has now been intercepted by our military. In fact, the details that we have as to what really happened, the misadventure on the Pakistani side, which was intercepted late last night, in fact around 1 o'clock, is when we are being told that the gun locating radars were basically identified the location of the missile launchers. Now, as far as these missile launches are concerned, where did it come from and how did it target? We are being told that the Kashmir cities, the cities in Kashmir, that's Awantipora as well as Srinagar, they were basically targeted from the Pakistani air base in Raula Kot. As far as Jammu and Punjab cities are concerned, they had launched the missiles from the Rahwali cantonment in Gujranwala. As far as Rajasthan cities are concerned, they were basically targeted from the Pak military base in Bahawalpur, and Bhuj was basically targeted from the Pakistani base in Sindh. Now, I haven't got the specific details of which military base was actually used as far as targeting of Bhuj is concerned, but all of this basically happened around 1 o'clock is when the gun locating radars basically saw some sort of a movement, and thereafter the drones were used. Now, I'm being given to understand, Abhishek, that as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned, they basically used the Indian-made drones, that is the Sky Trainer. Now, whether at all this was also reused today, that is not known to me at this point in time, Abhishek. I can only confirm now that the Sky Trainer was actually used for the entire operation. Whether at all new drones have been used for today's operation, that confirmation yet to come in. But this drone has about a 5 kilogram of warhead. Now, the distance that it can actually travel is way more. It can go up to over 300 kilometers is what we are being told right now by our sources. And the other important information that I've been able to pick up is that the operation of striking back, the retribution, basically carried out till about 7 o'clock in the morning. But the interesting bit that emerges right now is that they are still maintaining, sources still maintaining that as we speak, even now, because this information that I picked up was just about a few minutes ago. So they say that even now the operation is still undergoing.
Yeah. Okay, Shawan, one more question before I let you go. One quick question. What is the estimate of how many drones Pakistan would have used or could have used for this massive strike they planned, which of course was foiled and has failed? And in fact, India has inflicted a tremendous amount of damage to their air defense system in return. How many drones would the Pakistanis have thought that they could use to inflict some damage on India, in which they failed?
Well, in fact, this is the question of how many missiles that were basically launched. I did actually ask my source. In fact, they are saying that they're not going to reveal it at this point in time. So I do not have the answer to your question right now, Abhishek, as to how many missiles have been launched by the Pakistanis. All that I've been able to confirm is from which bases have they launched the missiles and how this was basically intercepted by our air defense system. And of course, thereafterwards, the retribution. These are the details that we have, but the rough estimate can easily go up. A dozen such was basically fired by the Pakistanis, but the specific number, I'm afraid, Abhishek, I do not have the details.
Maybe more, Shawarma. My curiosity was that has Pakistan come close to exhausting its ammunition, and if yes, then maybe we can launch an operation all out following Operation Sindoor, but that's for later. Moving on for now, staying with this story, which is about the situation to our west. And the breaking news is India has temporarily suspended operations from 27 airports across the country, mostly in the northern and western part of this country, in fact. And these 27 airports include those in Amritsar, in Chandigarh, in Jaipur, in Jaisalmer, in Bikaner, in Bhuj. 27 airports essentially in the northern and western part of the country, including Chandigarh. They have been shut. Some of them are smaller airports. Srinagar, Jammu, Leh were already shut. And the list essentially getting longer, with the Ministry of Civil Aviation deciding that given the operational readiness requirements of Indian Armed Forces and the fact that the situation on the border remains fluid, with India carrying out its Operation Sindoor 2.0, we need to keep those airports out of bounds for civilian traffic, just for the safety also of civilian passengers and of course for our military requirements as well. That's a breaking news development coming in. We have another breaking news development coming in. Let's keep it fast. Let's keep moving. And another one is that in Balochistan, all right, we have pictures coming in from Balochistan where people are so happy and excited and gung-ho that India has acted and inflicted costs on Pakistani terror, that the Balochi insurgents, the Balochi rebels, they have come out and removed Pakistani flags and put on Baloch national flags. These are pictures coming in from some parts of Balochistan released by BLA, the Baloch Liberation Army. Remember, they have been at the forefront of fighting against the Pakistani state for Balochi independence for decades. And in fact, they had a role to play. They own responsibility for carrying out the hijack of Jafar Express a couple of months back in Pakistan. And now they are hoisting Baloch flags atop public buildings. Okay, a massive blow to Pakistan's security forces. A deadly IED blast in Balochistan's Bolan region has left 14 soldiers neutralized. This happened yesterday, but again, since we are on Balochistan, this is another story. Take a look at the details.
It's caught on camera how Pakistani soldiers were blown to bits. The Balochistan Liberation Army has released a 5-minute video that captures the targeted attack on Munir Army personnel. The clip first captures 12 Pakistani Army officials conducting drills for route clearance. And minutes later, a white van carrying the soldiers are blown apart in a massive IED explosion in the Machkund area of Bolan. The Bolan blast is the latest in a spate of targeted attacks carried out by the BLA against Pakistan's forces. Pakistan is grappling with rising internal turmoil, with the Baloch Liberation Army seeking freedom. And the uprising is such that the BLA rebels are up in arms against the Shehbaz Sharif government. 22 Pakistani soldiers were killed in Turbat after a face-off with the BLA. 4 guards of the former Home Minister of Balochistan, who the BLA claims has now turned into a proxy for Islamabad, were gunned down. And back in March, the BLA hijacked the Jafar Express passenger train, killing 60 plus Pakistani soldiers and taking 300 others into hostage. The BLA-Pakistan tensions escalate at a time when Islamabad is attempting to come to terms with India's payback for the Pahalgam terror attack. And with a rising crisis at its western border, Pakistan has completely lost the plot.
All right, another breaking news development. The Minister of External Affairs is to brief media on Operation Sindoor 2.0 at 5:30 p.m. In fact, the operation is ongoing and there is going to be another round of briefing. In fact, this is the big one with Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri accompanied by Colonel Sophia Qureshi of the Indian Army and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh of the Indian Air Force to brief media on Operation Sindoor 2.0, which has been going on for the last 24 hours, went overnight, and we had a statement from the Ministry of Defence saying that India had to respond as its right of defence since Pakistan tried to target military installations across 15 cities from north of India in Jammu and Kashmir to Gujarat, where Bhuj and Nal were targeted. The Nalia Air Base were targeted. And now we are going to have this briefing in just about 15 minutes from now. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri and from the Indian Army Colonel Sophia Qureshi to brief media about Operation Sindoor 2.0, which means things are building up and it's not dying anytime soon. We have heard that the operation is ongoing. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh briefed the opposition and said that the operation is still going on. More breaking news coming in because Pakistanis are scared. Some of them are crying. Now, sirens going off in Sialkot, and these are air sirens going off in Lahore, in Sialkot, in many other towns of Pakistan. And this really shows the jitteriness.
सायरन तो बज रहे ना भाई
जनता आवाज हो गया जनता आवाज हो चुप कर जा मैं अपना अंडा निकाल रहा हूं मैं अंडे पे जाऊंगा बॉर्डर पे इस्लामाबाद के मुख्तलिफ इलाकों में सायरन तो बज रहे ना भाई जनता आवाज हो गया जनता आवाज हो चुप कर जा All right, those are sirens going off in Islamabad, in Lahore, in Sialkot, many other towns of Pakistan. And in one of those net sounds, you could hear someone saying, oh, siren chal nahi raha hai, which means their systems are not in place. And that is the reason why their air defense couldn't spot the Indian ammo, including missiles, getting into their airspace and hitting those targets as part of Operation Sindoor. Also, their air defense could not see the drone that was coming to target that air defense system. It seems like Chinese stuff. And that's why their air defense system in Lahore taken down by Indian forces. All right, more details. India launched cross-border precision strikes in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, targeting 9 terror camps. The strikes killed over 80 terrorists. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh says close to 100. Videos from Pakistan and Pak-occupied Jammu and Kashmir showed funerals being held after India's strike on terror camps, and some of them, in fact, Pakistani officers participating. Take a look.
ये मुल्क पूरे का पूरा फौज है और सारा मुल्क फौज के साथ है अल्लाह ताला, और ये शोहदा का इंतकाम भी होगा। तुमने निहत्थे लोगों पे हमला किया है, तुमने अल्लाह के घरों पे हमला किया है, ये बस्तियों में صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوब عليهم ولا الضالين चुकाएंगे ये मुल्क पूरे का पूरा फौज है और सारा मुल्क फौज के साथ है अल्लाह ताला और ये शोहदा का इंतकाम भी होगा तुमने निहत्थे लोगों पे हमला किया है तुमने अल्लाह के घरों पे हमला किया है कि बस्तियों में ठीक है صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين
मैं पीछे नजर आऊँ पीछे दूर
Right, in a massive blow to Pakistani army's reputation or whatever remains of it, the Baloch insurgents have carried out a targeted attack using an IED, drone-based IED, killing 14 of Pakistani army soldiers. We have more. These are pictures of Pakistani missile intercepted by India. And this happened last night. Pakistan launched a coordinated attack with drones and missiles. All of their projectiles were neutralized by Indian Army and Indian Air Force. And these are different pictures. These are of the Baloch insurgents killing the Pakistani soldiers. Look at these pictures. These are pictures released by the Baloch insurgents where they have targeted a Pakistani army convoy, one vehicle there carrying 14 soldiers, all of them killed and blown to pieces. Look at this. This is. Let's listen to those nats. And this is the blast. Look at this. There was a road opening party, so the road was opened and the soldiers thought that it's all clear. But then these insurgents were hiding at the top of the cliff. And from the cliff, they have shot the pictures of eliminating this vehicle with Pakistani soldiers. Been happening quite frequently of late in Balochistan, and the Pakistan army facing the brunt of Baloch insurgents and nationalists, freedom fighters of Balochistan, these are. and they are, of course, targeting Pakistan Army. Gursimran joins us live from Jammu on this. Gursimran, another video and another evidence that the Baloch nationalists, Baloch freedom fighters, Baloch insurgents, they are not going to let Pakistan Army off the hook easily. They are going to go after it, and maybe they see in this moment a time to really hit hard when the Pakistan Army is more concerned about a possible Indian attack.
Yes, Abhishek, you have rightly mentioned that Pakistan is facing heat from every possible side, be it from the Indian side, from the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, and now this video emerging of the Baluchistan Liberation Army, wherein they have carried out an attack. These kind of attacks in the last couple of weeks have become a new normal for the Pakistani side to face from the Baluchistan Liberation Army, because Baluchis, they see this as an opportune time to hit back at the Pakistani army, because Pakistan is much concentrated on its borders with the India, and the way they are receiving the strikes inside their country, they are focused on this side. And now what the Baluch people are doing, they are actually getting the revenge for their atrocities that have been committed upon them, revenge for the Baluch disappearances which the Pakistani army has been resorting to for the decades now. Thousands and thousands of Baluchs are missing, and all the credit to the Pakistani army. And now they are hitting back at the Pakistani army. Even the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, that has come out today with a statement alleging that it is the Pakistani army that is involved in the crimes and the atrocities on the humans that is being done in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the nearby areas, and also the heat that the Pakistan is getting from the Durand line. All these are actually making the things very difficult for the Pakistani army, which claims to be the one of the best, but now is struggling even to handle a single front, because Indian front is totally out of control. The TTP is not letting them go, and now the Baluchistan Liberation Army, even the Afghans, they are also now giving them hit.
Okay, thank you so much, Gursimran, with those details. Another breaking news development, which is that the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has come out with an advisory on Pakistan content.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
अगर उन्होंने 4 की याद करेंगे, डेरा मस्ती खाली करवा ली भाई। हाँ देखना वहां एरिया वहां से अभी वीडियो कैच होगी नहीं होगी।
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IAHM.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
weapon systems because you cannot risk putting all eggs in one basket.
ये मस्जिद तैयबा मरकज उमरकरा के अंदर ये नुकसान है.
Not risk putting all eggs in one basket. Not risk putting all eggs in one basket.
Men here
These
and
are
most
some
of the
visuals
civilians
I
here
can
are
see. Right, we are building up to that big update that has to come in from a press conference being jointly held by Ministry of External Affairs and the Ministry of Defence, which will have Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, and of course from the Indian Army we will have Colonel Sophia Qureshi, and from the Air Force Wing Commander Vyomika Singh. We will be holding the press conference updating us on Operation Sindoor and whatever has happened in the last 24 hours. We'll cut live to it the moment it happens. Till then, let me get you the headlines. It's not over yet. Operation Sindoor 2.0 underway as India pummels Pakistan and targets Pakistan terror headquarters in 7 places.
यदि कहीं कोई हमारे इस संयम का फायदा उठाने की कोशिश करता है तो उसे कल की तरह ही क्वालिटी कार्रवाई का सामना करने के लिए भी पूरी तरह से तैयार रहना होगा.
Defense Minister Rajnath Singh issues a stern warning to Pakistan, says India is ready for more military response. India clinically intercepts and shoots down Pakistani projectiles in Amritsar.
It is not our intention to escalate the situation. However, if there are military attacks on us, there should be no doubt that it will be met with a very, very firm response.
EM Jaishankar's big statement says we'll hit back if Pakistan strikes. Major success for India as Jaish Chief Masood Azhar's brother, who masterminded IC-814 plane hijacking crisis, killed. And Baloch Liberation Army releases full video of attack in Bolan, 14 Pakistani soldiers eliminated. Okay, another breaking news to begin with. In the interest of national security, all OTT platforms, media streaming platforms and intermediaries operating in India are advised to discontinue the web series, films, songs, podcasts and other streaming media content, whether made available on a subscription basis, model or otherwise, which has its origins in Pakistan. Pakistan origin content to be banished from platforms in India, OTT platforms, television, any other way, on the internet, in whichever way. If anybody is beaming, broadcasting, telecasting, is streaming Pakistan origin content, it has to be stopped. This is coming in from Ministry of Information and Broadcasting in an advisory released for all concerned. Essentially, India continuing to tighten the noose around Pakistani state and Pakistani society. There cannot be any business as usual at any level, and that's why this advisory. More breakings. We have Pakistan in dire straits. We have countries issuing advisories not to travel in many parts of Pakistan, including in Lahore. I mean, can you imagine Punjab, capital Lahore? And more breaking news development coming in this time. Details of Operation Sindoor. Exclusive, how India intercepted the Pakistani missile that happened in Punjab yesterday. Of course, it was not one. It was a 3-layer defense system, HQ-19, which was destroyed. So we took down the missile that came from the Pakistani side, and then we went in right inside Pakistan and demolished completely destroyed the air defense system at Lahore airport, something which has been accepted by DGISPR, Pakistan Army's information and propaganda wing, which means they couldn't just deny it. India intercepting Pakistani missiles, India hitting at their air defense systems, and of course succeeding in taking down their runners. 3-layer defense system of HQ-19 destroyed. India has breached Pak jammers and long-range missiles in doing so. And that's a big one. I think, Shawan, this is a damning information for the Pakistani generals. This is great news for India's offensive defense capability in terms of not only preventing any Pakistani missiles from coming into India, but then taking the battle right into their camp, destroying their air defense systems.
Well, in fact, this basically leaves several of the cities in Pakistan completely vulnerable, because you're looking at least 3 layers. So each of these layers basically covers a particular distance. And what we are being told that it has been completely demolished, which essentially means that any of the cities closer to these air defense systems are now completely vulnerable. If at all, India basically hits back again. The second important point to point out here is that soon after the gun locating radars basically found out from the places where these missiles were actually launched, you've had the drones being launched by India. And what we are being told is that the Pakistani air defense system could not really intercept any of it. The long range missiles that were basically used by the Pakistanis also completely failed, because moment after when you've had the Pakistanis trying to retaliate, you've essentially seen that the drones had already struck those very places. And that is the reason why we are being given to understand that the air defense system, the long-range missiles and the jammers that were essentially put by the Pakistanis had completely failed. And this is the reason why you're seeing the kind of large-scale damage that was inflicted upon the military of Pakistan. This was only because, remember, this is some sort of a response coming in only after what the Pakistanis were essentially trying to do, because each of the 15 cities that you actually look at, these cities in India do have some sort of a military installation. And what the Pakistanis essentially wanted to do is that across the international border and the line of control, they essentially wanted to target the military bases. For instance, take a look at what happened in Kashmir. The 2 cities that you're talking about, one is Awantipura and the other is Srinagar. Both the places have a military base. If you look at Jammu and the fact that you have the Pathankot air base that was being targeted, and that was being targeted from the Rawali cantonment. Now each of these places down to Rajasthan too, there too you have our military bases that were being targeted. And finally, of course, in Bhuj. So all of it, remember, there is a clear pattern that has essentially emerged.
Also, all right, the 3-layer defense system of HQ-19 that was targeted. Shavana, you've also got more details of the breaking news that's coming in from you, in which you've said India's the Kashmir cities were targeted, Jammu and Punjab cities were targeted from Raul cantonment in Gujranwala, Rajasthan cities were targeted. So you're giving us details about from which Pakistan military bases, Shavan, this attack took place on Indian cities, and Indian gun radars located the missile launchers extremely successfully. Sky strikers with 5 kg warheads were used in the operation. Give us more details, Shavan, as to why you're saying that the operation is still ongoing, as we're continuing to say Operation Sindoor 2. Sky striker was also used in this operation, Shavan.
Well, in fact, Rhythm, first let me answer the question as to why am I saying that the operation is still undergoing. In fact, when I spoke to my source getting the details of this entire operation, he essentially said that even as we speak right now, the operation is ongoing. So we do not know as to what has the armed forces achieved right now in the last few hours, because as far as Operation Sindoor 2 is concerned, the first detection took place around about 1 o'clock. And the interception, after the interception actually took place, India thereafter decided to escalate the matter. That was some sort of a retaliation. And the retaliation basically continued till about 7 o'clock. Now, how does that really happen? happen. Once you have these gun locating radars, they basically identify the source of the missile launchers, which basically enables India to basically find out from where the missiles were launched. Then thereafter, immediately the decision was essentially taken to basically target those very places. Now, that's the latest detail now coming in, Rhythm.
Just want you to stay with us. There's more breaking news that's coming in right now. World Bank President Ajay Banga meets Prime Minister Modi. The World Bank President has met Prime Minister amid India-Pakistan tensions. This is something that we have to watch out for. World Bank Group President Ajay Banga had arrived earlier to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The President of the World Bank had spoken earlier, we remember, on all the ways transformation in India had taken place, and now World Bank President Ajay Banga, who's an Indian, is now meeting President Narendra Modi. Extremely crucial, as the timing is very crucial, and we're seeing how he's meeting. There's more breaking news that's coming in. And the big breaking news that's coming in: Pakistan flag was brought down by the BLA rebels in Balochistan. This comes after the 12 Balochistan army soldiers were killed when their vehicle was hit by an IED in Balochistan. In an attack claimed by Balochistan Liberation Army, the blast killed 12 soldiers on board an army vehicle, including Special Operations Commander Tariq Imran and Subedar Uman Farooq. But we're getting you to know the big breaking news that even as 14 Pak soldiers have been eliminated, Gursimran continues to be with us. Gursimran, back-to-back attacks on Pakistan forces. It's a Baloch uprising against Pakistan that's escalating. Anytime now, several cities have already fallen in the hands of Balochistan from Pakistan. It's clear that these rebels revolting against Pakistan want their land back. Give us more details.
Yes, that's very clear that it is revenge time for the Baluchis, because Baluch people know that the Pakistan has committed only atrocities and have used their land as a colony. They have been subjected to the forced disappearances over last 1.5 decade, and there are many of those who have chosen to raise voice against the Pakistan. They have been subjected to the forced disappearances, but now they see it as an opportunity to give it back to the Pakistan that has always held them as third-class citizen in their own country, in their own land. Now they are hitting the Pakistan and carrying out back-to-back terror attacks. Pakistan is feeling heat on all the fronts, be it the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, be it the Balochistan, because Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan as well as the Balochistan Liberation Army and the Balochistan Republican Army, these groups have gathered together for the operations at the simultaneous time, because on the Durand line also we are seeing that Pakistan is getting what it is needing from the Afghans as well. So now one end they are totally equipped with the Indian side. They want to save their borders, they want to save their illegally occupied Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and on the other hand the Balochistan and the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is slipping out of their hands, as here rebel groups have decided that they will be going full throttle war against Pakistan by targeting their security forces. So Pakistan is losing out its control in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa as well as in the Balochistan, reason being that they do not have the local support.
Okay, I am also going to tell you shortly the big MEA presser. This is big, and that's going to be coming. All right, this is big breaking news that's coming in. The MEA press conference is going to begin anytime soon. Shortly, the big MEA press conference. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is going to be present there. Colonel Sophia Qureshi, who was there yesterday, and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh also there. Also going to be present is MEA spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal. And viewers, this is the way this happens when there is an Operation Sindoor 2 going on. We remember even earlier when there have been any conflicts, we've always seen press conferences that happen daily. I think staying with that tradition, the MEA, the security forces are going to be putting out a briefing to give details of India's big strike on Pakistan. Remember, like we said earlier, the Indian Army statement is self-explanatory, where the Indian Army has called its response focused, measured, non-escalatory. We've also seen the Indian Army giving out details, which I'm sure the MEA is also going to give us a briefing on. The Ministry of External Affairs presser, anytime now. It's a special briefing that will shortly be there. Operation Sindoor 2 is going to be there, and these details are going to be shared shortly on Operation Sindoor 2 by the Ministry of External Affairs. More details of Operation Sindoor 2 to be shared. And the MEA along the Foreign Secretary, Colonel Sophia Qureshi, Wing Commander Vyomika Singh, going to be sharing out those details along with the Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson. On the night of 7 to 8 May, the Indian Army statement is very clearly saying Pakistan engaged in a number of military targets, including in Avantipura, Srinagar, Jammu, Pathankot, Amritsar, Kapurthala, Jalandhar, Ludhiana, Adampur, Bhatinda, Chandigarh, Phaloi, Uttaralal and Bhuj. They used drones and missiles. They were neutralized by India's defense systems. The debris is also there as proof that is found in these locations that prove the Pakistani attacks. Today morning, the Indian Armed Forces statement says the Indian Armed Forces targeted air defense radars and systems at a number of locations in Pakistan. India's response has been in the same domain and intensity as Pakistan. We're putting out pictures of the ongoing Operation Sindoor, where we've also seen in Karachi, Ghotki, where we've attacked. It's been reliably learned the air defense system at Lahore has been neutralized. We struck in Rawalpindi. Let me also go across to Shavan, who's joining us. And okay, I'm also going to go across. They've already come there in that big MES special briefing that is now there. They're going to give us details of Operation Sindoor 2 that's ongoing. At the Ministry of External Affairs, we can already see Vikram Mishri, Foreign Secretary, who's coming. They're making the last minute arrangements for all of them to be there. And remember, Pakistan increased the intensity of its unprovoked fighting across the line of control. They used mortars, heavy caliber artillery in Kupwara, Baramulla, Uri, Poonch, where there have been serious civilian injuries. 3 women and 5 children have died due to the Pakistan firing. India was also compelled to respond. All right, we can already see our officers there. Vikram Mishri already there. Wing Commander Vyomika Singh and also seen, as well as Colonel Sophia Qureshi.
Operation Sindoor. We also have with us Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh for this briefing. With that, I hand over the floor to Foreign Secretary. Sir.
Thank you, Ranveer. Good evening. Thank you all for joining for this briefing. You would have perhaps seen some information related to developments since late last night, early this morning, which has been put out by the Ministry of Defense. Just in case it has been missed, I will request Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh to just update you and fill you in on the details.
Thank you, sir. ऑपरेशन सिंदूर पर 7 मई 2025 को हुई प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस के दौरान भारत ने अपनी प्रतिक्रिया को केंद्रित, संतुलित और गैर उत्तेजक बताया था। यह विशेष रूप से स्पष्ट किया गया था कि पाकिस्तानी सैन्य ठिकानों को निशाना नहीं बनाया गया। साथ ही दोहराया गया कि भारत में किसी भी सैन्य लक्ष्य पर हमले का उचित जवाब दिया जाएगा। 7 से 8 मई 2025 की रात को पाकिस्तान ने उत्तरी और पश्चिमी भारत में स्थित कई सैन्य ठिकानों को, जैसे कि अवंतीपुरा, श्रीनगर, जम्मू, पठानकोट, अमृतसर, कपूरथला, जालंधर, लुधियाना, आदमपुर, भटिंडा, चंडीगढ़, नाल, फलौदी, उत्तरलाई और भुज पर ड्रोन और मिसाइलों से हमला करने का प्रयास किया। इन हमलों को इंटीग्रेटेड काउंटर यूएएस ग्रिड और वायु रक्षा प्रणालियों द्वारा निष्क्रिय कर दिया गया। इन हमलों का मलबा कई स्थानों से बरामद हुआ, जो कि पाकिस्तानी हमलों का प्रमाण है। On the night of 7th May 2025, Pakistan attempted to engage a number of military targets in northern and western India using drones and missiles. These places included Avantipura, Srinagar, Jammu, Pathankot, Amritsar, Kapurthala, Nal, Jalandhar, Ludhiana, Adampur, Bhatinda, Chandigarh, Phalodi, Uttaralai and Bhuj. These were neutralized by the integrated counter unmanned aerial system and other air defense systems. The debris of these attacks is now being recovered from a number of locations that prove the Pakistani attacks. आज सुबह भारतीय सशस्त्र बलों ने पाकिस्तान के कई स्थानों पर वायु रक्षा रडार और प्रणालियों को निशाना बनाया। भारत की प्रतिक्रिया समान क्षेत्र में समान तीव्रता के साथ की गई। यह विश्वसनीय रूप से ज्ञात हुआ कि लाहौर में स्थित एक वायु रक्षा प्रणाली को निष्क्रिय कर दिया गया। Today morning, Indian Armed Forces targeted air defense radars and systems at a number of locations in Pakistan. Indian response has been in the same domain with the same intensity as Pakistan. It has been reliably learnt that an air defense system at Lahore has been neutralized. पाकिस्तान ने नियंत्रण रेखा पर आकरण गोलीबारी की तीव्रता बढ़ा दी है, जिसमें कुपवाड़ा, बारामूला, उरी, पुंछ, मेंढर और राजौरी क्षेत्रों में मोर्टार और भारी तोपखाने का इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है। Pakistan has increased the intensity of its unprovoked firing across the line of control using mortar and heavy calibre artilleries in areas in Kupwara, Baramulla, Uri, Poonch, Mendhar and Rajouri sectors in Jammu and Kashmir. 16 innocent lives have been lost, including 3 women and 5 children, due to the Pakistani firing. Here too, India was compelled to respond to bring mortar and artillery fire from Pakistan to a halt. Indian Armed Forces reiterate their commitment to non-escalation, provided it is respected by the Pakistan military. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Friends, this is, as I said, further to the briefing that was provided yesterday and some of the updates that have been just provided by Colonel Qureshi and Wing Commander Singh. I thought that we would just put some of the aspects related to the events that started on 22nd April with the barbaric terror attack in Pahalgam into further context, because there is a certain amount of commentary that has happened with regard to the events since then, and more than the commentary, there has been a lot of disinformation that has been directed at us from across the border. So a few things that I would like you to keep in mind. First of all, there is mention on all sides of escalation. I think the first point that you have to keep in mind is the attack of 22nd April in Pahalgam is the original escalation. ये जो सिलसिला है जो हम देख रहे हैं आज की घटनाओं को लेके, ये 22 अप्रैल के पहलगाम के हमले से शुरू हुआ है। एस्केलेशन वहाँ पे हुआ है और उस एस्केलेशन का जवाब भारतीय सेना ने, भारतीय फौज ने कल अपने एक्शन से दिया है। Secondly, I want to invite your attention to the involvement of the group calling itself the Resistance Front in these attacks. I pointed this out yesterday that this is a group that is a known front for the well-known Pakistan-based terrorist organization, Lashkar-e-Taiba. The group has been reported earlier. I mentioned to you about the Indian authorities providing information to the UN 1267 Sanctions Monitoring Committee. And in fact, we are going to be meeting with the team again very soon, and we will be providing an update to the information that we have provided earlier. But what is interesting, दिलचस्प बात यह है कि संयुक्त राष्ट्र की सुरक्षा समिति में जब पहलगाम के हमले को लेके एक प्रेस वक्तव्य जारी करने की बात चल रही थी, तो आप सोचिए किस देश ने टीआरएफ का, द रेजिस्टेंस फ्रंट का उसमें मेंशन किया जाना, उसको अपोज किया, पाकिस्तान ने। दिस was after the fact that the TRF claimed responsibility for this attack not once but twice within a few hours after the incident on the 22nd of April and then again on the morning of 23rd April. And it is perhaps only after the full gravity of the incident was realized by its masters and handlers across the border that it was managed to back off from this claim. Obviously, that retraction doesn't convince anybody. तीसरी चीज जो मैं आपसे कहना चाह रहा था, और कर्नल कुरैशी और विंग कमांडर सिंह ने कल भी बड़े स्पष्ट शब्दों में और आज भी आपसे ये बात साझा की है। जो भारतीय रिस्पॉन्स है वो नॉन एस्केलेटरी है, प्रिसाइज है, सटीक है, मेजर्ड है और कंसिडर्ड है। Our intention has not been to escalate matters. We are only responding to the original escalation, as I said, and our response has been targeted, precise, controlled and measured. Only no military targets have been selected. Only terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan has been hit. Now, there are, as I said, a number of issues that have been raised in commentaries, and there's a lot of, as I said, unfounded disinformation and fabrication that has come from across the border. And I would just like to use this opportunity to set the record straight on some of these issues. The first of these is Pakistan trying to wash its hands off any and all involvement with terrorism. I think the Pakistani information minister said there are no terrorists in Pakistan, and I think he was challenged on that in the television program that he was appearing on. But even if I partially repeat myself from yesterday, I think Pakistan's reputation as the epicenter of global terrorism is rooted in a number of instances where concrete evidence is available, not just to India, but to governments and authorities and agencies around the world. There are several terrorist attacks around the world where Pakistani fingerprints have been found. I don't need to belabor the point with regard to this audience about where Osama bin Laden was found and who called him a martyr. Pakistan has also for decades pursued cross-border terrorism into India with impunity, and as I said yesterday also, in order to deliberately mislead the international community, they claimed that the terrorist Sajid Mir was dead. They came under pressure, and Sajid Mir was then brought back to life, arrested, and is now apparently in Pakistani custody. Pakistan is also home to a very large number of UN proscribed as well as UN proscribed terrorists, as well as terrorists proscribed by a number of other governments in the world, including, of course, the Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed, as well as their leaders, Masood Azhar and Hafiz Mohammed Saeed. आपने देखा होगा हाल ही में पिछले ही कुछ दिनों में पाकिस्तान के रक्षा मंत्री और उनके पूर्व विदेश मंत्री दोनों ने इस बात को माना है कि पाकिस्तान का ऐसे ग्रुप्स के साथ जो रिश्ता है वो क्या रहा है. Both the defense minister and the former foreign minister of Pakistan, I think, have I think they've done a more eloquent job of this than I could ever do in terms of describing their country's implication in international terrorism and their involvement in housing these kinds of groups. दूसरा जो विषय है वो है पाकिस्तान का जो एक दावा है कि एक इंटरनेशनल impartial investigation होना चाहिए, एक joint investigative committee होनी चाहिए. These calls for jointly investigating this heinous and barbaric attack in Pahalgam. Again, I think you know the history well on this. You know the track record well, and it is not a bright track record insofar as Pakistan is concerned. In fact, in the pursuit of justice for the victims of multiple terrorist attacks, whether it be Mumbai in 2008, in Pathankot in 2016, or many others. But in particular for these two attacks, India had offered to cooperate. India provided forensic evidence and urged Pakistan to bring the perpetrators of these attacks to justice. We, in particular with regard to the Mumbai attacks of 2008, where a Pakistani Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorist was captured alive, India provided extensive information and evidence related to the involvement of Pakistani terrorists in this attack. Cases were registered, but you are all aware that these cases have not progressed. Despite the formation of judicial teams, etc., and Pakistan has consistently stonewalled all efforts to move the investigation along. In fact, with regard to the Pathankot attack as well, a joint investigative team was formed. We gave access, unprecedented access, I should say, to Pakistani team to the site of the attack. Details of call records data and DNA, etc., were shared with Pakistan. We had shared with them details related that we had been able to access to the addresses of terrorists. We presented evidence against the office bearers of Jaish-e-Mohammed who had conspired in the attack, and the handlers of the terrorists who facilitated them and guided them in, but there has been no movement on this. So in all of this, I think the experience has not been positive, and it certainly doesn't give us the confidence now to take at face value Pakistani assertions of wishing to participate in a joint investigation. These are just delaying tactics, these are just stonewalling tactics. And in fact, there is reason to believe that Pakistan uses the evidence that we provide only to cover its tracks and in fact defend the terrorists who we are looking for and obstruct the path of investigation. A third point that I wanted to address was the claim that only civilians were killed in the strikes on the 7th of May. We have made the point very clearly that all attacks on the morning of 7th May were against carefully selected terrorist infrastructure, terrorist targets. It is not clear to us, in fact, seeing some of the coverage of the after effects of these strikes, including the funerals for the terrorists that were held yesterday. I think a lot of you have seen the reports and the coverage on media. If only civilians, if any civilians were killed in these attacks, I wonder what message this picture actually sends to all of you. This is a question that is worth asking. It's also odd that the funerals of civilians are carried out with the coffins being draped in Pakistani flags and state honors being accorded. As far as we are concerned, the individuals eliminated at these facilities were terrorists. Giving terrorist state funerals may be a practice in Pakistan. Doesn't seem to make much sense to us. Pakistan has also claimed that India deliberately attacked religious sites. This is completely false again. I have made it clear that the targets were terrorist infrastructure, terrorist facilities, and locations connected clearly with incidents of cross-border terrorism into India. And it is in fact Pakistan that is misusing religious sites as a cover to in fact radicalize, direct and indoctrinate and train terrorists. In fact, contrary to what Pakistan is claiming, yesterday Pakistan launched a targeted attack on the Sikh community in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, hitting Gurdwara in Poonch and the homes of Sikh community members, which came under attack. And we know that at least 3 individuals were killed in that particular attack. Pakistan is also making attempts to, in fact, just to add to this point, the retaliatory action that Pakistan has taken, in fact, is impacting civilians. I showed you the picture of the Gurdwara and the Sikh community members who were killed in this. There are other civilians also who've been killed and injured in these attacks. In fact, since yesterday morning, a total of 16 civilians have been killed and 59 others have been injured in the attacks by Pakistan. Not only this, Pakistan is also making attempts as part of its disinformation campaign to paint our action with regard to cross-border terrorism through the communal angle. If that is the issue, then I think I can do no better than to cite or point you in the direction of the Pakistan Army Chief's speech of 16 April 2025. I think that is the last word in communal rhetoric. And in the Pahalgam attack itself, you are aware of the kind of religious profiling that was done there, and perhaps there is a linkage between these two events. I can only say that these nefarious designs will not be allowed to succeed in India. And it is to be noted that people from all faiths, all religions, all regions in India have unequivocally, not just in India but around the world, have condemned these attacks. The Pakistani claims of now responding to India's strikes of the 7th of May. As I said right at the outset, it is India which is responding. The original escalation was by Pakistan on the 22nd of April. We are the ones who are responding to that escalation with the action that was taken yesterday morning. And again, I would like to emphasize that the action was restrained. It was directed towards non-civilian, non-military targets and confined to terrorist camps. And again, as we have been saying since yesterday, any further action by Pakistan, some of which we are seeing today, is nothing but escalation by Pakistan now, once again, and will be responded to and is being responded to appropriately. One point that I wanted to also address was the allegations to the targeting of a dam, the Neelam Jhelum project in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. I want to say that this is an absolute and complete fabrication and a blatant lie. India has targeted only and only terrorist infrastructure, and the details of that terrorist infrastructure, together with the locations, were shared with you yesterday by Colonel Qureshi and Wing Commander Singh. I should note that if this kind of a claim is a pretext for targeting Indian infrastructure of a similar nature, Pakistan will be entirely responsible for the consequences that will undoubtedly follow. Finally, I want to address some issues that have been raised related to the Indus Waters Treaty and the disinformation that has been raised in regard to that as well. The fact is that there have been fundamental changes in the circumstances in which the Indus Waters Treaty was concluded, and they call for a reassessment of the obligations under the treaty. Over the last year and a half to 2 years, India has been in communication with the government of Pakistan. We've sent several notices to them requesting for negotiations to discuss modification of the treaty. India has for 6+ decades now honored the treaty, even during periods when Pakistan imposed multiple wars on us, and even when relations were adversarial. Pakistan is the one that has been acting in violation of the treaty, deliberately creating legal roadblocks in India exercising its legitimate rights on the western rivers. Any projects that India sought to build on the eastern rivers, and even on the western rivers, which we are allowed to by the treaty, were always challenged by Pakistan, thereby hampering our rights to utilize our legitimate waters under the treaty. In fact, if you see the preamble of the treaty itself states that the treaty was concluded in a spirit of goodwill and friendship. Mark those words, concluded in a spirit of goodwill and friendship. ये भारत का धैर्य और भारत की सहनशीलता है जो 65 साल से हम इतनी प्रोवोकेशन के बावजूद इस ट्रीटी को निभा रहे हैं. However, as has been made clear earlier as well, Pakistan has not responded to our requests to enter into negotiations for a reassessment of the obligations under the treaty. A number of conditions have changed. This is a treaty that was based on the engineering techniques of the 50s and the 60s. We are living through the first quarter of the 21st century. Technological changes and technological advancements have to be taken into account. There are demographic changes. There are climate changes that have taken place. There is the imperative of clean energy. And of course, the terrorism that Pakistan has wreaked in the state of Jammu and Kashmir itself has hampered India's ability to exercise its rights under the treaty. Pakistan's persistent refusal to respond to our requests to enter into government-to-government negotiations on the modification of the treaty is, in a sense, itself a violation of the treaty. And therefore, India has taken the step of putting the treaty in abeyance until Pakistan abjures irrevocably its support for cross-border terrorism. Maybe I'll stop there. I mentioned earlier yesterday as well that this is an evolving situation. I would therefore ask all of you to be considerate and restrained. It will not be possible for us or my colleagues from the armed forces to share operational details at this point in time. Beyond that, if you have any questions, may I have time for only a few, and I'll try to answer those questions.
Okay, I give the floor to Rishabh.
One Secretary, good evening. This is Rishabh from Times Now. I just wanted to understand, as per the press release that has been released earlier today, it says that we have successfully hit at the air defense of Lahore. Does it give our forces a better chances in case of further escalation? And are there other air defense places as well at strategic location that were targeted?
Rishabh, you are violating the first rule that I set out at the end of my remarks. The press release that has been issued by the Ministry of Defence today speaks for itself. It is related to operational matters. It's been released by the Ministry of Defence. As more information becomes available, it will be released at the appropriate time. Once again, please don't go into operational details at this point in time, because this is a constantly evolving situation. Yeah, go ahead.
Foreign Secretary Smita Sharma, just wanted to ask, the Pakistani Minister Ishaq Dar in an interview has claimed that the national security advisors of India and Pakistan have spoken to each other. If you could confirm or deny, and is complete severance of diplomatic ties with Pakistan also on the table?
I have no information with regard to contacts between the two national security advisors. Insofar as diplomatic relations are concerned, you've seen the steps that were announced in response to the following the meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security on the 23rd of April. There are no further steps that are under consideration at this moment in time. Go ahead.
फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी, मेरा नाम मनीष है, मैं TV9 भारतवर्ष से हूं, और आपने खुद ही बताया कि कितना मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन क्रॉस बॉर्डर से आ रहा है, बल्कि ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे पाकिस्तान के प्राइम मिनिस्टर और डिफेंस मिनिस्टर तक भी प्रोपेगेंडा करने में मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन में आ गए हैं। वो कई बार तो ये तक दावा करते हैं कि हम 3 राफेल हमने गिरा दिया, इतने हमने मिग गिरा दिए, और जब उनसे पूछा जाता है तो वो कहते हैं कि सोशल मीडिया में हमने ये सब चीज़ें देखी थी। तो अगर आधिकारिक तौर पर अगर आप कुछ कह सकें इस पर, ताकि उन्हें भी समझ में आए कि इस तरह के प्रोपेगेंडा नहीं चलने वाला है।
देखिए, जब सही समय होगा तो आधिकारिक तौर पे इसके बारे में सूचना दी जाएगी, लेकिन जो आपका प्रश्न है कि प्रधानमंत्री और उप प्रधानमंत्री और विदेश मंत्री, उनके रक्षा मंत्री इस तरह की बातें कर रहे हैं, तो इसमें अचरज की कोई बात नहीं है। आखिरकार ये एक देश है जिसने अपना इसका जन्म लेते ही झूठ शुरू हो गया था। 1947 में जब पाकिस्तानी फौज ने जम्मू कश्मीर पे दावा बोला, तो उन्होंने किसी ऐसे वैसे व्यक्ति से नहीं, संयुक्त राष्ट्र से झूठ बोला कि हमारा कोई लेना देना नहीं है इससे, ये लोग जो गए हैं वो तो कबायली हैं। वो तो जब हमारी फौज वहाँ पे पहुंची और UN के लोग, संयुक्त राष्ट्र के लोग खुद वहाँ पे पहुंचे, और उन्होंने देखा कि वहाँ तो पाकिस्तानी फौज घुसपैठ करके आ गई है, उसके बाद पाकिस्तान को मुंह की देखनी पड़ी और उनको मानना पड़ा कि हाँ, उनकी फौज वहाँ पे कुछ समय से पड़ी हुई है। तो ये जो यात्रा है एक तरह से 75 साल पहले शुरू हो चुकी है, तो आई एम नॉट सरप्राइज दैट दिस काइंड ऑफ disinformation is being indulged in. Yeah. Siddhant.
Sir, Siddhant from Beyond. Sir, we have seen a lot of negative comments coming from the Pakistani military of escalation. If tomorrow there is an escalation, there are strikes, we know one attempt has been thwarted, what will be the Indian response to those attempts of creating more escalation? Because it is looking like it's going towards more escalation. And my second question is, are any other world powers, essentially the P5 countries, the West Asian countries, reaching out to de-escalate the current situation?
Look, on escalation, we've already made our stance clear. I mean, there are two basic points. First of all, it is Pakistan that escalated on the 22nd of April. We are only responding to that escalation. And then what we have said yesterday and what my colleagues have said today, that now if there is an attempt at further escalation by Pakistan, it will be responded to in an appropriate domain. And therefore, the choice is entirely that of Pakistan to make. As to your second question, I don't think I can do better than to point you in the direction of the statements that are being made from practically every chancellery in the world and the sentiment that they are carrying. That sentiment essentially and for the major portion is support for the government of India in the context of the condemnation of the terrorist attack in Pahalgam on the 22nd of April. There is wide recognition of the government of India's right to respond to these attacks in self-defense, and of course a desire to ensure that there is not further escalation. I think these statements speak for themselves. Yeah. There.
Sir, this is Mausami from India Today. Now, in the all-party meeting, we have learned that the Defence Minister has said that, in the Operation Sindoor, almost 100 terrorists were killed. Would we have any details about what is the number like, and also about if there were any big faces, masterminds, terrorist masterminds who were in fact killed? There is also a report that Masood Azhar's family's 10 members have been killed, and Rauf Asghar, who was actually the mastermind of Pulwama, he's also been badly, severely injured.
I don't have information at this point in time to share with you on these issues. But as I said, I think, there is so much information out there on television, in the news media, in social media, that it sometimes looks like a long time has passed since this. Please understand that slightly over 36 hours only have passed since this operation was undertaken. Let us have some patience. Information will come out. It will be shared in due time. Shruti.
Thank you, Foreign Secretary. Shruti Ranjan from Bloomberg. Sir, could you give us any understanding whether India has moved the IMF or the World Bank to kind of, sensitize them about the the bailout that Pakistan has, and the kind of stuff that the Pakistan government is doing?
Look, we have an executive director at the IMF. Tomorrow there is a meeting of the board of the IMF, and I'm sure that our executive director will put forward India's position. The decisions of the board are a different matter. The process through which they are made. But I think the case with regard to Pakistan should be self-evident to those people who generously open their pockets to bail out this country. And since you are from Bloomberg, I think you would have the data on how many IMF bailout programs have been very good. Thank you. Have been sanctioned in the space of the last 3 decades. And I think you would also have an idea of how many of those programs have actually reached successful conclusion. Probably not many. So I think this is a decision that board members have to take by looking deep within themselves and looking at the facts.
So we can, one last question, sir.
Sure.
One last question.
Foreign Secretary, I'm Siddhant from CNN News 18. I would like to know, since it's an opportunity to speak to you, I would like to know the response coming from United States since last 3 weeks. Saudi Arabia, Qatar. In fact, Prime Minister Modi spoke to Qatar before the strikes that evening. Perhaps how do you read the support coming from these countries, perhaps traditionally they were seen on the other side. This time around, their statements are strong worded. In fact, India-Saudi joint statement also had a very strong condemnation, strong worded condemnation. United States at all level have condemned the attack and have extended support. In fact, Saudi Deputy Foreign Minister is in India. He just met EMS Jaishankar. Also, if you could shed some light on his visit, his meeting with EMS Jaishankar. In fact, we have also been told that he met Prime Minister Modi. Thank you.
Look, all the countries that you named and many others, we have been in touch with them. The Prime Minister has spoken to a large number of world leaders. A large number of world leaders have called him, as have called the External Affairs Minister. As we speak, there are conversations going on today as well with world leaders. And your assessment or conclusion of the general tenor of these messages is very much on point. And I think this is a recognition of the fact, firstly, of the barbaric nature, the unprecedented nature and character and features of the attack in Pahalgam, and a recognition of India's right to respond to this, and also a recognition of the fact that in responding, we have been nothing but responsible and have done so in a restrained, in a measured, and in a non-escalatory manner. I think that counts for something. People have taken that into account, and that is what is explaining the kinds of reactions that we are seeing. And we appreciate the sentiments and the statements that have been made by the vast majority of world leaders. Yes, the Saudi Minister of State for Foreign Affairs is in Delhi. He had a meeting with the External Affairs Minister earlier today. I don't have further details at this moment, but if there are details, the ministry will share them at some point with you. Thank you. I think that's all we have time for today. We'll join you again soon. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Pakistani narrative takedown now by India. This entire narrative that was peddled by the Pakistanis that the drone hit that was carried out was because, not because of any sort of retaliation, but this was part of the operation. India makes it abundantly clear that we will hit back if at all Pakistan escalates the matter. Not just that, there are several other issues that were addressed by the Foreign Secretary and of course by this Army as well as the Air Force. We're going to take you through every details of it, but slipping into a short break, coming back with the full details of the briefing that has taken place.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
पाकिस्तानी और इंडिया ने जंग शुरू कर दी। मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के जो है मदरसा है उसके ऊपर 4 मिसाइल दागे गए हैं। 4 मिसाइलों के साथ हमला किया गया है। मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर हम अपनी अफवाज पाकिस्तान के साथ खड़े हैं, लेकिन मेरा सवाल है कि हमारी एजेंसीज कहाँ सोई हुई थी, हमारी अफवाज पाकिस्तान कहाँ सोई हुई थी जब हमला हुआ। मुजफ्फराबाद की भी खबर आ रही है कि मुजफ्फराबाद वाली साइड पे भी ये अटैक हुआ है, लेकिन सबसे पहले मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर अटैक हुआ है ब्लास्टिंग मिसाइल के साथ। उन्होंने हमला किया है मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं। अभी ये कहना कबल सकता है कि गोया कितनी सच्चाई है इस खबर के अंदर, किस साइड से ये मिसाइल आए हैं, ये अभी कन्फर्म होना बाकी है, लेकिन ये कन्फर्म न्यूज़ है कि उनके मदरसे के ऊपर 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं।
ये नुकसान, ये 9 नंबर, ये मस्जिद तैयबा मरकज उमर कुरा के अंदर ये नुकसान है।
पाकिस्तानी और इंडिया ने जंग शुरू कर दी है। अभी मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के जो है मदरसा है उसके ऊपर 4 मिसाइल दागे गए हैं। 4 मिसाइलों के साथ हमला किया गया है मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर। हम अपनी अफवाज पाकिस्तान के साथ खड़े हैं, लेकिन मेरा सवाल है कि हमारी एजेंसीज कहाँ सोई हुई थी, हमारी अफवाज पाकिस्तान कहाँ सोई हुई थी जब ये हमला हुआ मुजफ्फर।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला।
It's not over yet. Operation Sindoor 2 underway as India pummels Pakistan and targets Pakistan terror headquarters in 7 places. India goes after Lashkar-e-Taiba to TRF to brief United Nations Security Council.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर 22 अप्रैल को पहलगाम में हुए विभत्स आतंकवादी हमले के शिकार मासूम नागरिकों व उनके परिवारों को न्याय देने के लिए लॉन्च किया गया था।
Indian armed forces expose Pakistan on civilian killings, reiterate the befitting response to terror state.
It is not our intention to escalate the situation. However, if there are military attacks on us, there should be no doubt that it will be met with a very, very firm response.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar's big statement says we'll hit back if Pakistan strikes. Major success for India as Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar's brother, who masterminded the IC-814 plane hostage crisis, killed.
All right, viewers, there's an important meeting that is going on right now as we speak at the 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. Right now, the Army Chief is briefing the Prime Minister and the NSA Ajit Doval in the national capital, and that's what we are breaking right now. The Army Chief, General Upendra Dwivedi, is right now meeting the Prime Minister and NSA Ajit Doval. The meeting is right now underway at the 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. A big update coming in as Pakistan its cowardice has also been exposed. Once again, we just had the Ministry of External Affairs and the MOD press conference a while back, and Pakistan, what it intended to do, how it has targeted the civilians in India, in Jammu and Kashmir, has all been exposed, and now the next step of action is being mulled at, is being discussed. The Army Chief, General Upendra Dwivedi, is at the 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, and we have Aishwarya Kapoor joining us on the broadcast. From Aishwarya Kapoor, what more can you tell us about this meeting?
Well, this meeting is happening right now, just minutes after the MEA and the MOD joint press conference. You have the Army Chief and the National Security Advisor briefing the Prime Minister at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. As you just stated, this meeting is on as we speak. You have the Army Chief, NSA briefing the Prime Minister. We've just heard in an official press conference that how Pakistan tried, it was a failed attempt from across the border to attack our 15 installations. It was thwarted by the Indian forces, by the combined effort of the Indian forces and our S-400 system. But no such attempt should even be tried today. So what we are being told, that the Army Chief is briefing the Prime Minister and the NSA is also in presence. We are being told that 27 civilian airports have been completely shut down for any commercial or civilian mobility. They've been made as complete military airports, and that ranges from Jammu and Kashmir to Gujarat, Ghaziabad, Delhi's Hindon Airport. So all of this has been included amid high tensions. This is a very important meeting which is happening at the 7 LKM, in which the Army Chief and the NSA are briefing the Prime Minister together. Back to you.
Aishwarya, it's very important to understand that, the operation is still underway. It's Operation Sindoor 2. What Pakistan saw, it was, of course, a strike back at what it did in Pahalgam. But we can understand, as the MEA was saying in this press conference, the Foreign Secretary said how it had targeted the Indian cities and how it has targeted the civilians in Jammu and Kashmir. That, of course, exposes Pakistan. And India has made it clear that it will not step back at all. India should not be taken lightly. And Pakistan has signed up for something very, very dangerous. It is very clear, and hence what we see, these important meetings are now underway.
Well, absolutely. There is no question of stepping back even an inch. In fact, we made it clear that you dare this time. You dare. India responded with Operation Sindoor 1 because that was only a retaliation or a badla, as it is called, of what they did in Pahalgam. What they did last night, the only reason, the kind of destruction Pakistani civilians are seeing in their cities, ranging from Karachi to Peshawar to Rawalpindi and you name it, is only because what Pakistani army tried last night. They failed in even crossing the Indian airspace, but they tried. So they dare not. There is no question of taking half a step back. If they dare today, then it's no holds barred. And we are very clear. And the Army Chief and the NSA are briefing the Prime Minister on our preparedness. Let there be no doubt about it. We are ready. Yes.
Right. Aishwarya, thanks so much for joining us with those important details coming in from the 7 Lok Kalyan Marg viewers. So all those who are tuning in right now, the Army Chief, General Upendra Dwivedi, is right now at the 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. He is briefing the Prime Minister and the National Security Advisor, Ajit Doval, as India, of course, is right now continuing to plan over the strategy. Remember, India says, and it has announced, it has made it clear that the operation is still underway. It's not over because Pakistan is not mending its way. The way it has targeted the Indian civilians, the way it has resorted to heavy shelling along the LOC in Poonch, the way it has targeted the Sikhs, the way it has targeted the Gurudwaras. It's all clear that how Pakistan continues with its cowardly ways, and it needs to be taught a lesson, viewers. Now, viewers, Pakistan has just to go into more of the details on that. There have been heavy shelling along the line of control, and especially in Jammu, if you see what happened in Poonch, viewers, there was heavy shelling, massive destruction. The Gurdwara was also targeted over there, and three Indian civilians were killed in this shelling. And this happened right after India's Operation Sindoor. And this is, of course, after India, of course, had it succeeded in its operation, hitting the terror targets. But hitting the terror targets, dismantling the terror headquarters, hurt terrorists down so much. So now we will give you this report. In fact, we have our network reporters right now lined up for you. Decimating Singh joins us live on the broadcast from Akhnur in LOC. Harsha is live from Poonch, and we have Rawat live from the border district of Baramulla. We'll just go across to Harsha, who has been tracking all the developments from Poonch. Well, the Foreign Secretary also made it very clear that how the Indian side has been targeted. The Indian civilians have been targeted by the cowardly Pakistani army, and the shelling that continued yesterday. And we saw that how the Sikhs, the Gurudwaras, have been targeted by the Pakistani army. What is the latest update that you are, and what have you witnessed in Poonch, Harsha? What you can share with us?
So Rakshita, as rightly you are pointing out the cowardly behavior of Pakistan, where again it has attacked civilians. In Pahalgam also we saw the civilians, the tourists were attacked, and here also in Poonch, when the frustrated Pakistan saw that how Operation Sindoor was successful, it resorted and guided its artillery, its mortar shelling towards Poonch city, main city. There are several districts of Poonch which has been heavily impacted, but if we talk about Poonch city, the artillery exercise of Pakistan was guided at religious places. Not only Gurdwara but also temple, Gita Bhavan, mosque and madrasas all have the mark of the mortar shelling caused by Pakistan. Also 6 from the Gurdwara died in the mortar shelling. Also in total 11 civilians in the Poonch district have lost their lives. We spoke to the families who are still grieving. Tears of the mothers have not soaked yet, and they are stating that Pakistan should continuously, this befitting reply should be given from the side of India to Pakistan. Not only Operation Sindoor 2.0, but more such action should be given from the side of India to Pakistan, because now what we see in the Poonch city is the devastated and destroyed houses, collapsed walls. What we saw, the visuals in the Gurudwara, how only Guru Granth Sahib was protected, while the walls, the windows, everything was was reduced to debris in the Gurudwara. Same was the scenes from the temple as well. And while many localities in the Poonch, we saw the similar scenes, the debris everywhere, and also how the clutter, there was completely clutter with rubbles in the locality and the lane. The busiest lane, the destruction could clearly be seen. And right now what we are seeing in the Poonch is the deserted lanes, because most of the civilians have now shifted to a safer location. The authorities have clearly stated that the relief and the medical assistance is being provided to the civilians here. They have been shifted either to the bunkers or either to the safer location, because Pakistan can again resort to the mortar shelling as it's completely frustrated. And the cowardice of Pakistan is clearly that now it is attacking the civilians rather than doing something else. So right now the visuals of Poonch is clearly like the desertness we can see in the lanes, in the roads. Most of the civilians have moved to the Jammu or the nearby district where the mortar shelling impact will not be there, because Poonch, if we talk, it's an embattled hill city which is surrounded by the disputed Indo-Pak border. So right now what we see is that the impact of devastation. Back to you.
Well, all right. Thanks. We will just go across to my colleague Decimating Singh, is also in Jammu. He is along the LOC in Akhnur, and of course there has been a lot of damage over there as well. What's the latest update that you're picking up? And you also have information about what has been happening. Decimating, you've been in touch with your defense sources as well, because there has been, how India has also struck back. India's air defense system have proved what they really are, meant for, and how strong they stand in face of Pakistan's cowardly ways and its weak ammunition. Tell us more about what you have witnessed and what you're learning latest.
Rakshita, if we speak of first of the situation along the line of control, the situation continues to be tense, because the people in the border areas, they have been asked to vacate their houses due to the Pakistani provocation that we have seen late last night, early yesterday morning, when they resorted to targeting the civilian areas in the Poonch. So nothing can be left at chance, and that's why the district administration, the divisional administration, they decided that all the bordering villages will be asked to vacate. Right now we are at the Akhnur line of control, and I'll request Sarjivan to show you this ridge that you see. that this is actually going to be point of friction between India and Pakistan, because if you speak of the 2019 the airstrikes that India carried out and the Operation Swift Retort, everything was visible from this very stretch, because from the international border to the line of control till Sundarbani, this area has always been the place from where Pakistan has attempted to intrude into the Indian territory, though their attempts have been foiled. And today, since the India has done the retaliation, and the retaliation was on the Pakistani army headquarters, it is very likely and the forces are prepared for any kind of retaliation from the Pakistani side, because Pakistan will once again, they will not sit back. That's very sure for the security establishment, because they know the habit of the Pakistan, that even after getting defeated, the Pakistan tries to overcome the same, and in the same spirit that they try to win this, but every time they have faced the defeat. Now, when it comes to the preparedness, there have been the anti-drone systems, the air defense systems of the India along the line of control, they have been activated at least more than 24 locations in a single sector. So the deployment is very thin. There lies almost no possibility that there will be any breach of that system, that the Pakistani air systems, the UAVs, the Pakistani helicopters or the fighters, they can enter into the Indian territory. That is a foolproof system that the India has kept in place. Apart from this, what we are also getting to know, that everything is being kept on standby, every option. Indian Army's local formation commander, they are directly speaking to the Northern Army commander almost on real-time basis, and they are briefing on the prevailing situation, so that if there is a change in the situation that needs the response from the Indian Army, that can be given without any delay. Rakshita.
Right, viewers, we'll just continue to talk to our reporters, but here's more from the ground that our reporters have filed as far as the situation along Poonch is concerned, viewers, because the Gurudwara has been targeted, and you just see the plight of the civilians, how Pakistan has targeted civilians, and India had only... It was a measured response. It was a precision strike on the terror camps, on the terror headquarters. It was to dismantle the terror network and, send a blow, in fact, deal a blow to the terror apparatus in Pakistan. But what Pakistan did is target the Indian civilians. Here's more.
Hit like it seldom had before, the rattled and clueless Pakistani troops opened small arms fire on civilian areas along the line of control. Heavy artillery fire was also directed on unarmed civilians in the forward areas of Poonch near the LSC. While the army responded swiftly and effectively to unprovoked Pakistani shelling, an effort was underway to shift all civilians on harm's way to safer places. The unprovoked Pakistani shelling and small arms fire have so far claimed 16 lives while leaving over 40 injured.
I am Harsha reporting for Border Dispatch from Gurdwara Guru Singh Sabha in the Poonch city. There's a Gurdwara located in the main city of the Poonch district. It's very important to showcase this place because after the successful launch of the Operation Sindoor at Pakistan resorted to the mortar shelling at the religious places in the Poonch city. And this is one of the places, this is one of the Gurdwaras which was the target of the Pakistan, and also through visuals it could clearly be seen from windows to walls. Most of the infrastructure have been damaged from the mortar shelling from the Pakistan side. In the early morning hours of Wednesday morning at around 9 o'clock, heavy shelling was targeted from the side of Pakistan at this Gurdwara. Not only this Gurdwara but nearby temple, madrasa and masjid have also been impacted.
Visuals captured ongoing efforts to shift civilians to safer shores in the forward areas of Poonch. The forces and Jammu and Kashmir police also carried out checks in civilian areas, public installations and even religious places. In more visuals, motorists were flagged down and the vehicles searched at multiple checkpoints across Poonch town. Meanwhile, the Poonch Gurdwara bore telltale shelling marks after being targeted by cowardly Pakistani troops. The cowardly attack on the sacred shrine claimed the lives of 3 Granthis. Speaking to the public, a local said he had been witness to many instances of unprovoked shelling from across the border, but had never seen such cowardice. Delhi Minister Manjinder Singh Sirsa, meanwhile, came down heavily on the Pakistani troops for directing heavy artillery fire on a place of worship. As Pakistan continues with its gutless artillery fire on civilian areas, the authorities are in a race against time to shift locals out of harm's way.
Now, viewers, we have to understand that how Operation Sindoor has started and what it aimed to and what has been carried out. How India targeted these 9 military areas. Now, it targeted those terrorist targets, the operational to dismantle the operational capabilities of the terrorists, and this was done to avoid further escalation, to avoid a military conflict. And my colleague Harsha, who has been along the LOC in Jammu, she is going to explain in this report that how India had operated all throughout in this mission. Listen in.
At least 12 civilians were killed and 42 injured as the Pakistan Army resorted to intense artillery shelling along the line of control in Poonch district on Wednesday. The action came hours after India carried out precision strikes on 9 terror targets in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir to avenge the April 22nd terror attack in Pahalgam. Officials confirmed multiple casualties, including the death of 4 children aged between 7 and 14 years. The indiscriminate shelling created panic among the border residents, who were then forced to take refuge. Dozens of houses were damaged across 7 districts: Balakot, Mendhar, Mankot, Sagra, Krishnaghati, Gulpur and Kain. And in the aftermath of Pakistan's relentless offensive, the Jammu and Kashmir police and SOG teams have launched extensive security check operations to move civilians to safety.
It is very close proximity with the LOC. Also, after Operation Sindoor, Pakistan targeted majorly this area. I'll pass my camera person Gaurav to come here and to show this entire visual at large. The safety and security of the Jammu and Kashmir civilians and the civilians of the Poonch district is very much important, which is being ensured by the police official and by the SOG team as well, because what we saw here was at several places the civilians were struck. So right now they have left or they have moved to safer location, to safer bunkers. This is being ensured by the Jammu and Kashmir police.
With Operation Sindoor yet to be over, Pakistan is counting its days.
All right, viewers, now we shift our focus to the other story that we're tracking. In fact, my colleague Aravat is also joining us live on the broadcast from one of the border districts, that is Baramulla. Now, what are you picking up, Aravat, because we've seen that right after the Operation Sindoor, right after the airstrikes, there was a lot of damage, a lot of shelling that was witnessed in Baramulla. What is the situation right now?
Absolutely, Rakshita, as we have seen that the strike on the terror groups of the and Lashkar in the Pakistan and other places there. And then after we have seen that the Pakistani troopers have tried to create the disturbance in the Kashmir Valley's Uri sector in the Baramulla district. We have seen that the properties were damaged in the various parts of the Uri sector. But we have seen that the senior officials from the Jammu and Kashmir police and other paramilitary security forces are there on the ground, and they have access to all the situation and everything is controlled there. And also we have seen that the health department is there active, and we have also seen that all the entry and exit points in the border areas of across the Jammu and Kashmir is on the high alert after we have seen that there was an attempt from the troopers of the Pakistan to target the civilian population of the Kashmir Valley. We have also the reports from the line of control area in the Kupwara sector, where we have seen that the mosque was also damaged by that in that particular area. And then after we have seen that the same kind of operation is also taking place in the various parts of the Kashmir Valley, and then after we have seen that the same kind of operation is also taking place here in the Uri sector. Also we have seen that locals have
have been advised there to move to safer locations. And after also we have seen that everything is there under control in the Uri sector, but we have seen that the Indian Army is giving them the befitting reply to the Pakistan's unprovoked fighting. We have seen that the ceasefire violation in the Uri sector comes after when we have seen the deadly terror attack in the South Kashmir's Pahalgam, where we have seen that the 26 men lost their lives. Then after we have seen the continuously ceasefire violation by the troopers of the Pakistani Army in the Uri sector, but we have seen that the Indian Army is giving them the befitting reply. Yes, Rakshita.
Right, Rawat. In fact, viewers, we also have to understand it's not just in Poonch, not just in Baramulla, but also in several other areas like Gulmarg. That is one of the most popular tourist destinations as far as the Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. Now, that also was targeted. Unprovoked shelling was done. We saw that happening in Gulmarg as well, and as a result, the authorities took a decision of even suspending the famous gondola rides, the trolley cars that go in towards the Afaravat peaks as well. And this, of course, is a direct attack on the tourism. We've seen that how tourists have been targeted, and Gulmarg also now came under shelling. Here's more.
Amid heightened tensions between India and Pakistan, authorities have suspended the gondola cable car services in Jammu and Kashmir's Gulmarg. This decision comes after unprovoked mortar shelling by Pakistani forces near the line of control. According to authorities, there has been no damage to the gondola infrastructure. However, the proximity of shelling has raised concerns. Gulmarg is one of the popular destinations in Kashmir that is close to the line of control. However, after Pakistan's unprovoked mortar shelling, the authorities have cordoned off the area for tourists. Officials said the security forces have fortified security of the tourist spot to safeguard from any untoward incident.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition from the front, viewers. We continue to report from several locations across Jammu and Kashmir. With that, I'd like to thank my colleagues Harsha from Poonch and my colleague Rawat from Baramulla and, of course, Gursimran from Akhnur. And this is Dr. Mishra signing off from Srinagar. We'll be right back with This Is Exclusive on 7 p.m. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IIHM.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
अगर उन्हें 4 की यार्ड करेंगे, डेरा मस्ती खाली करवा ली भाई। हाँ देखना वाम कैसे आ रही है वहां से। अभी वीडियो कैच होगी? नहीं होगी।
I think we can see an explosion. We hear an explosion. Jets hovering here right now in Srinagar, and we can actually smell some smoke, and the sky at one part became red. There was an explosion sound, very much visible. Seems panic across the border. As we report from Srinagar right now.
At Amity, we are committed to building a stronger India through world-class education and research, to nurture ideal citizens who, together with the leaders of today and tomorrow, will make India a world superpower. Amity University, India's leading not-for-profit private university.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला.
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते.
Sir, fans है शोर तो करेंगे ही ना.
नए वाले नहीं करते. And they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans, super silent performance with voice control.
Silly me आए तो और
Cricket fans.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार. MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला.
Of different weapon systems, because you cannot risk putting all eggs in one basket.
ये मशस मरकज उमरकरा के अंदर ये नुकसान है.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Into the farms in Punjab. That and more coming up. Here are the headlines. Operation Sindoor 2 continues as India hammers Pakistan for its misadventure and attempt to target Indian cities. India strikes Pakistani defense radars. Lahore, Karachi, Rawalpindi hit. Pakistan attempts to target 15 Indian cities. Drones and missiles projected at India fall short. All of them fail to hit their targets. Pakistani duds landing in farms across the border. Chinese missiles suspected to have been used. India has confirmed that we have struck Lahore air defense radars, the location from where some of the Pakistani drones and missiles were launched targeting India. S-400 Sudarshan Chakra used in the Operation Sindoor 2, as every Pakistani drone and missile are intercepted in the skies. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a very dramatic last 48 hours, and we can confirm to you now that Operation Sindoor 2 continues this evening. The military operation is on. What is military Operation Sindoor 2? Pakistan last night tried to target 15 Indian cities. And my colleague Shawan is joining us with the details of where they launched these attacks from and how Pakistan's attempted strikes on Indian cities were thwarted one by one, ranging between 80 kilometers to 282 kilometers. Each of these strikes, drones, missiles that were sent to 15 cities, all falling short. Shawan with the details. Shawan.
Well, in fact, the details that we are getting right now is what Pakistan essentially wanted to strike were the military installations. If you take a look, starting all the way from Kashmir, Awantipura, Srinagar, both the places, remember, they were targeted from Rawalakot, that is in Pakistan. That's the Pakistani Air Force base. Now, let me also tell you, as far as those in Jammu and Punjab are concerned, the missiles were basically launched from Rahwali cantonment in Gujranwala. Cities in Rajasthan which were basically targeted, they were from the Pakistani military base in Bahawalpur, and Bhuj was basically targeted from Sindh. Now, in fact, Niranjan, the details that we're getting is that roughly around 1 o'clock in the morning, that was when our gun loading radars, these radars actually identified the location from where these missiles were being launched. That's when our air defense system was activated, and these missiles were prevented from carrying out the targeted approach. Thereafter, we are being told that immediately you've had the drones that were basically used by India to target the same very places from where the missiles were launched, and this operation continued till about 7 o'clock this morning. Interestingly, this piece of information that we had got was roughly around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or little after 2 o'clock. And when we spoke to our sources at that point in time, also remember, the source basically indicated that the operation was still undergoing, something that was once again cleared by the Ministry of External Affairs as well as the Defence Ministry. So which is a clear indication of the fact that the operation is nowhere to a closure right now. In fact, it is still going on. The other important aspect that we've been able to figure out is with regards to the missiles that were basically used by the Pakistanis. In fact, these are essentially the PL-15 or the BVR range missiles that were used by the Pakistanis. This was delivered to the Pakistanis by China, and this was just about 3 months ago when these missiles were actually given by China to Pakistan, which was basically used. In fact, it turns out that some of those missiles that were fired by the Pakistanis did not even continue in the same very trajectory that it was basically locked for. It did not have enough fuel. Now, that was what we have also picked up, and that is the reason why some of these missiles landed up in their own territory. And the others which basically crossed over were brought down by our air defense system. And in fact, the debris of these missiles have been found in places like Amritsar, and in some other places also we are given to understand, like for instance in Bhatinda and a few other places, the debris have been found. So there is ample proof of the fact that they basically wanted to carry out this attack.
Shavan, why don't you walk up here, because I have 5 walls. Let's do the walls together, because the walls tell the full story of what Pakistan tried to do. So I'm going to get Shavan also in the frame. Let's fire those walls one after the next, and then we'll go from one story to the next. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what Pakistan tried to do last evening. Let's go across straight to the wall. Shavan, the 15 cities that Pakistan tried to target in the intervening night of 8th of May. Pakistan attempted to target 15 cities. I'll go from the bottom. Bhuj, Uttarlai, Falodi, Nal, Batinda, Jalandhar, Kapurthala, Amritsar, Srinagar, Avantipora, Jammu, Pathankot, I think that's Udhampur, Ludhiana and Chandigarh. Now all of these cities, Shavan, so across the border, from international border, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir, along the border they've tried to target our cities.
Well, in fact, just to quickly add a point here, you have your naval installations here.
Yes.
As far as Bhatinda, Jalandhar, Kapurthala, Amritsar are concerned, you have your army bases here. Interestingly, Pathankot, remember, has been their target for a very, very long time, because that's where our Air Force base is. Jammu, also not to forget, as far as Jammu is concerned, you have the 16 Corps headquarters in Jammu. Ludhiana, Udhampur, as well as Chandigarh, you have, several of your not just the military base, but some of them happen to be the military cantonments which have also been targeted. So clearly, if you look at it, there is a pattern that emerges. Of course, Srinagar and Avantipora both have military bases. You have the 15 Corps in Srinagar, and Avantipura also has a...
Now, Shavan, what is interesting is that they haven't just tried to target towns or cities along the border. Perhaps as a response to India going deep into their territory, they've tried to target cities well within our territory, for example, in Chandigarh. Now, that came as a surprise. Now, let's get you the next wall, which shows you how India responded and why India responded in the way that it did. Let's show you the next wall. We hit them back at the bases, at the military installations, from where all of these missiles or radars or missiles and drones came from. India took out some of them. Shavan, if you can talk about the cities where they came from and why we struck these cities and what we struck in these cities in the last 12 hours.
Essentially, each of these missiles have a particular range to cover. That is the reason why we've not covered that. Like, for instance, from Sindh, you would have Bhuj, which is closer. 280 kilometers.
Yeah.
So Bahawalpur again also happens to be another military base, which was basically targeting just opposite in Rajasthan. Happens to be the cities that were carried out to it. But the cities that were targeted in Rajasthan were from Bahawalpur.
Yes.
Lahore, Sheikhpura, Sialkot, Chakwal, Gurjanwala. Now, Gurjanwala was the other place from where the targeted attacks took place, and this was primarily Jammu region was being targeted from here. And as far as Sialkot is concerned, this is more to do with the air defense system that was basically put in place, which we have been able to penetrate. I'm going to explain that in a short while.
One of the first videos that came in this morning, ladies and gentlemen, was from Lahore when the first explosion was reported. Now, when Republic reported that explosion as well this morning, Shavan, we broke that story as an explosion that was reported from Lahore at a cantonment area. What we did not know is that it was India hitting back at Pakistan, striking the air defense system, finishing off the air defense systems of Pakistan in Lahore, because that's where the drones and missiles came from. So let's get you the next wall of how we hit them back this morning. India foiled Pakistan's attempt, 15 drone/missiles, 15 targets, 15 cities, and every drone or missile fell short. And this is how we did it. India foiled Pakistan's plans. If you can come a little ahead, Shavan, where Pakistan fired from. Now, Shavan has the exact details, where they fired from and where we intercepted them. Shavan.
So this, if you see, Rawalakot happens to be the Pakistani Air Force base, which is also, there is one in Kotli. Now, as far as Kotli is concerned, we haven't got more details from there. From there, the missile was actually launched targeting Avantipura and Srinagar. I'm not too sure about the distance. If you know,
yes,
you'll be
roughly about 80 to 90 kilometers, Shavan. Even this around Gujranwala, roughly about 80 to 90 kilometers.
This is a very key military installation as far as Pakistan is concerned. Pakistan basically launches from here because you have the Jammu, Pathankot and a few other places in Jammu that was being targeted. And for them, it's extremely important. If you remember the Pathankot airbase also, our airbase was targeted in the past. You've had this missile that was launched towards Jammu. That happens to be the Nagrota base, which is the 16 Corps base.
Now, next, Bahawalpur. Now, this is interesting because we checked the distance, Shravan. If the drones and missiles were launched from Bahawalpur towards areas in Rajasthan, that's namely Nal, Falodi and Uttarlai, right? Minimum 200 to 300 kilometers. That's the range, 200 to 300 kilometers. So perhaps could have been missiles that were launched from Bahawalpur. By the way, symbolic because Bahawalpur is the headquarters of the Jaish-e-Mohammed Masood Azhar's headquarters, which we struck yesterday.
Right. And this is also the place where we are given to understand Bahawalpur. If we can just quickly go back once in Bahawalpur, because some of the missiles we can't go back to understand that some of the missiles did not cross over.
Yes.
So that could be also because of because of the distance, B, because probably
Chinese missiles.
Yeah.
Chinese missiles. Okay, finally, this is Sindh, and from Sindh, they fired some projectiles towards Bhuj in Gujarat, and that was thwarted.
The only thing that I'm not very sure about, and I couldn't get the details from my source, was where exactly in Sindh is the military base from where when they fired. But this is a confirmation that yes, it was from one of the province. From the Sindh province.
Yeah, our gun radars located these launchers in real time. And ladies and gentlemen, just one point, just think about it. If 15 missiles or drones were launched from Pakistan, were supposed to hit Pakistan's Indian cities, if we were the target, if 15 cities were not hit, you have to remember that it's only because of our forces that we today are safe. We don't have a single hit from Pakistan. And a big thank you and a salute to our forces and for all of those anti-nationals who question our forces. Now, we have more for you on this particular plot of Pakistan. This is why we are safe. And the Chinese duds, and we have, Shravan, a breaking news came in of how we have deactivated the HQ-9s of Pakistan. We've struck some of those systems as well. If you can tell us a little bit about that, and then we will start the comparison.
So, the air defense system basically works in multiple layers. So in the first layer, it would cover a particular distance, and the second layer thereon. As far as HQ-9 Pak, as far as this air defense system is concerned, they had basically installed at 3 locations. One happens to be Lahore, the other happens to be Sialkot, and the third happens to be in Rawalpindi. There we are being told that all the 3 places, they've also aided it with long-range missiles, as well as jammers. All 3 completely failed. Now, as far as the S-400 is concerned, once it is up in the air, remember, it basically does not allow any sort of penetration, and more importantly, the range that it has. This is an upgraded version of what we had earlier.
Yes.
It was delivered just about a few months ago, and we are given to understand that has been utilized. And the range that you're looking at, just look at what the detection range is.
Look, let's look at the comparison. First of all, S-400, the Indian system has won the Sudarshan Chakra. Pakistan's HQ-9 has failed completely. The range, 600 kilometers for India's detection air defense system, S-400, 250 kilometers for HQ-9 of Pakistan. Let's go to the next parameter. Destruction range, 400 kilometers for the S-400. This is India's system, while it's just about 200 kilometers for Pakistan's HQ-9. But by the way, air defense system of Pakistan, lesser said the better, because all our missiles have struck our targets. Next, maximum target speed, Mach 14, not much
there is
more
a
change there.
bit of a difference. There's a bit of a difference
Yes.
here. The difference being is that this basically intercepts even hypersonic missiles.
Yes.
So which basically means that even if you have used an advanced missile, there's a high possibility that your S-400 air defense systems would be able to detect, unlike what would have happened in the case of HQ-9, because it's not equipped.
Yes. Next parameter, let's go straight up to that. Maximum altitude 30 kilometers for the S-400, a maximum altitude 50 kilometers. I don't think that really matters because this has done its job. Let's go to the next one. Next parameter. The S-400 can shoot 80 simultaneous targets, including cruise, ballistic missiles, UAVs and aircraft. And I think this has been one of the biggest displays of success of this missile system is in what we saw last night, Shravan.
And of course, the Russians themselves have used it. Russians have used this during their current war.
Yes.
And the fact that they have essentially promised an upgraded version. This upgraded version basically looks at a variety of, interceptions. And as you pointed out, this also encompasses the newly newly made missiles which are faster range, which has a longer range. All of that can be well detected, unlike in this case.
Yes, you should take that with a pinch of salt, because that's what they claim. But none of India's missiles were intercepted by the HQ.
In fact, you know, this is the air defense system, as I said, it was layered. You would also have long-range missiles. So in order to basically stop some of them, because most of the missiles would have come at the same go, you would have exhausted it. The air defense system gets exhausted or blocked. But it seems that not only this air defense system failed, but the other systems that were put in place, for example, the long-range missiles, the jammers, all of them failed simultaneously.
Deployment time. Next parameter, just 5 minutes for the S-400. If you have a parameter of the HQ-9, it doesn't really matter how long it can be deployed, because how soon
it's a little bit of a stationary issue, so that's not much of a case.
Okay, and finally, this has been the game changer for India today. India hit several targets. Sialkot, we showed you the 7 cities that we hit. Now, this is believed to have been one of the key drone systems that were used to target and disable the Pakistani radars. The Harpy drone, Shravan, you want to talk about it? On how it was used and how effective it's been?
See, the loitering munitions, basically, by the word itself, moves around. And the fact that this can go at a low level without much of a detection. Subsurface is what these drones would have moved around. As far as the warheads are concerned, it can be expanded. Now, what we are given to understand that there were 2 types. One, of course, was Harpy, and the original, that is the first phase of the operation, was also using something that was designed in Bengaluru, that is the Sky Trainer, and that has another warhead about 5 kilogram that was taken. In this, if you see, the payload is way higher. It's about 32 kilogram. So you are taking a larger quantity, and the fact that the destruction would have been much more.
So this is an example of the India story, right, Shravan? Harpy jointly made between Israel and India, and this is available in plenty with us, and this is a success story. And every aspect of Operation Sindoor that you've seen, the missiles that were used to target the nine areas chosen yesterday when we hit the terror camps, beautiful precision strikes that we had. If I can just quickly pull up one picture that we had where the headquarters of Masood Azhar before and after tells you how precise the strikes were. And while we do that, let's also get you some breaking news. There is a breaking news update that we have from Bangladesh. I want Shravan to give us that breaking news update. Let's break that next. That was the next breaking news update we had. Bangladesh falling in line. Shravan, this is very unprecedented. Bangladesh seems to have got a message as India pummels Pakistan. Pakistan was Bangladesh's go-to friend, suddenly found friend, and after we have struck Pakistan, UNIS government has fallen in line. They have issued a sudden notification asking for Hindus to be protected. It's come out of nowhere, but it's linked. Shravan.
Well, in fact, there is growing pressure right now. One coming in from the radicals inside Bangladesh, because remember, there were certain measures that the UNIS government essentially wanted to take, bringing in more women workforce, and that has been completely, something that has not gone down well with the radicals who have been controlling UNIS. Now, it turns out that with the change in the US administration too, there have been certain directives that have been given to the UNIS government, and it turns out that a panicked, worried Bangladesh is basically responding to what India has been saying for a very long time, the protection of minorities. Now, this notification basically brings in that change, which something that they had ignored all this while, saying that this was a figment of our imagination.
And there are terror groups even in Bangladesh. We know that there are elements in Bangladesh which are radical extremist elements in Bangladesh, and the precision strikes are a clear message to Bangladesh, which has lately been acting as a proxy for both Pakistan and also China. And that is why they seem to be somewhat in a shock.
Well, there are a series of meetings that have actually taken place. Before the precision strikes that took place in Pakistan, you've had Pakistan basically sending members of their ISI, having a meeting that took place in Dhaka. The second thing that happened was you've had their foreign ministers actually coming together, having a meeting on what possibly could be the next steps. So that is the reason why this proximity between Bangladesh and Pakistan was only growing. But it turns out that Yunus has actually realized that coming closer to Pakistan would only mean doomsday for Bangladesh.
Absolutely. And Shaman, thank you for joining us on this breaking news edition of This Is Exclusive. We'll take a short break now, ladies and gentlemen, but our coverage of Operation Sindoor 2 is non-stop. We are going live immediately after this commercial break. We have headlines and the big debate with Arnab coming up. Stay tuned and thanks for watching.
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते
सर फैंस हैं शोर तो करेंगे ही ना
नए वाले नहीं करते and they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
Silly me, I thought
Cricket fans. अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
पाकिस्तानी और इंडिया ने जंग शुरू कर दी है। अभी बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के जो है मदरसा है उसके ऊपर 4 मिसाइल दिए गए हैं। 4 मिसाइलों के साथ हमला किया गया है मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर। अपनी अफवाज पाकिस्तान के साथ खड़े हैं, लेकिन मेरा सवाल है कि हमारी एजेंसीज कहाँ सोई हुई थी, हमारी अफवाज पाकिस्तान कहाँ सोई हुई थी जब ये हमला हुआ। मुजफ्फराबाद की भी खबर आ रही है कि मुजफ्फराबाद वाली साइड पे भी अटैक हुआ है, लेकिन सबसे पहले मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर अटैक हुआ है ब्लास्टिक मिसाइल के साथ। उन्होंने हमला किया मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं। अभी ये कहना कबल वक्त है कि गोया कितनी सच्चाई है इस खबर के अंदर, किस साइड से ये मिसाइल आए हैं, ये अभी कंफर्म होना बाकी है। लेकिन ये कंफर्म न्यूज़ है कि उनके मदरसे के ऊपर 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं।
ये नुकसान, ये 9 नंबर, ये मस्जिद तैयबा मरकज उमर करा के अंदर नुकसान है।
Pakistan attempts to attack 15 Indian cities. India cripples Pakistan's air defense. Has Pakistan just made a fatal mistake? Debating tonight at 8 p.m.
At Amity, we are committed to building a stronger India through world-class education and research, to nurture ideal citizens who, together with the leaders of today and tomorrow, will make India a world superpower. Amity University, India's leading not-for-profit private university.
MDH की देगी मीरज
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
Unlike in 2019 when we had hit Balakot, which was in the wilderness, and Pakistan got an excuse to say that nothing had been damaged or killed, that we had only killed some crows and pigeons and sparrows. This time we chose high visibility terrorist targets which have been around for decades, right? And they are command and control targets, terror training camps of big, very great magnitude, so that they cannot be missed by the people of Pakistan or the whole world per se. Otherwise, we had that syndrome of jungle mein mor nacha, kisi ne na dekha, etc., which Pakistan took the fullest advantage of to deny that it had been hit, and that was taken advantage of by some unscrupulous people in India. This has been a very calibrated, very calculated, meticulously planned and executed strike. Right? It is non-escalatory in nature because it is proportionate, because it targets precisely the terror training camps. We have not hit the Pakistan armed forces, the army or the ISI. We have focused only on the terror targets. To that extent, it should be non-escalatory. India is prepared to call it off at this stage. Should Pakistan wish to escalate and target Indian civilian or military targets, then it is signing its own death warrant. It will give the Indian Armed Forces the precise pretext, the precise justification they need to target the Pakistani army, ISI, and the command and control network that dominates the terror ecosystem in Pakistan. The Pakistani ISPR has claimed that India has hit 24 attacks on 6 target clusters. So far, they are saying that they have retaliated by artillery firing on an Indian brigade headquarters and another.
Pakistan's terror facade is crumbling. The mask is off. Tonight we bring you the unvarnished truth about India's surgical strikes against Pakistan's terror infrastructure. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval's master plan behind Operation Sindoor. Join us as we dissect the precision strikes that took out over 90 terrorists, including key figures like Qari Muhammad Iqbal, with India's military by taking out 9 key terror camps, eliminating over 100 terrorists. The message is loud and clear. The era of impunity is over. I'm Shavan Sen and this is Forces First. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval emerged as the chief architect, the man behind India's swift and strategic retaliation, Operation Sindoor. Working behind the scenes under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, National Security Advisor Doval led high intelligence coordination and mission planning. The 9 targeted terror dens across Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The precision strikes were given a go-ahead after his plan received a final nod from the Prime Minister.
said that when he speaks, it's intelligence, but when he's silent, it's war. And that's exactly what happened. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, the man who sits at the helm of India's national security architecture, kept mum all through these days since the Pahalgam terror attack. No speaking, no addressing, not seen in meetings beyond the 2 cabinet committee on security meetings that took place, in where he played an active role, briefing the Prime Minister about what were the possibilities, what were the options. Remember, the first CCS took place on April 23, a day after the dastardly Pahalgam terror attack, where the NSA was seen animatedly explaining to the Prime Minister what all had happened and what had to be done or could be done. Prime Minister gave the brief to the CCS that they should come back with clear options. The national security team, led by Ajit Doval, and of course, which includes the Chief of Defence Staff, the 3 service chiefs of the Army, Navy, Air Force, and of course the other agencies which play a crucial role in information gathering. The Research and Analysis Wing, RAW as it is called, India's External Intelligence Agency, the IB, which takes care of intelligence within, the NTRO, which is a crucial arm of RAW, which gathers TACINT, which is technological intelligence, and of course ISRO, which gathers satellite data. Everyone was involved, including the BSF, because they have ground intelligence along the border, because they are the active force in peacetime along India's international border. And that's where all the data gathering began, information gathering began, validation of whatever intelligence that agencies already had begun. And by the time the second CCS happened on April 29, the plan was in place. The options were in place for the Prime Minister to give a go-ahead, which he did, following which he made a address where he said that a free hand had been given to forces to avenge the Pahalgam terror attack. And that's when the contours of Operation Sindoor started taking shape. So obviously no one would speak and this never happens. But then you saw, in terms of those hints coming in of the policy of hot pursuit, about which Prime Minister spoke while he was in Bihar, that India is going to chase the perpetrators of Pahalgam terror attack till the end of the earth, as also target the soil from which those attacks emanated. Message was clear that India yet again would go after Pakistan, its terror proxies, and all the infrastructure that operates from Pakistani soil. Operation Sindoor was essentially about collating all data, gathering all intelligence, connecting the dots, and then zeroing down on specific targets, the organizations, the individuals, the places, the locations, everything intelligence based and not in any manner indiscriminate. And that really lends value and a moral cover to the operation that India has carried out by way of Operation Sindoor. It was carried out in a manner that Pakistan was clearly foxed. So be it India's mobilization of its naval force and carrying out of live fire exercises in the Arabian Sea with great numbers of warships mobilized, be it India's air exercises that were carried out in the central sector, giving Pakistan some confusion about what all India was up to while the borders remained silent. And the reason why the borders were silent were because the army was carrying out a plan. The targets were to be hit with kamikaze drones and with the beyond visual range missiles of the Indian Air Force, and no passing off, crossing of the border or the LOC. Those targets were hit, and how? Look at the pictures that have come in that give you an idea of the kind of precision with which the Operation Sindoor has been executed. Those pictures that were shared by India with the rest of the world in that press briefing by the Ministry of Defence and Ministry of External Affairs. Behind all this was the man and the mind of that man, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, who was up all night. And the moment the operation was executed, he was working the phones to give a diplomatic edge to India, speaking to as many as dozen odd national security advisors of these nations, his respective counterparts from the United States, from the United Kingdom, from Japan to South Korea, France, and of course, crucially, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates in West Asia. NSA Dobal then, of course, readied for a briefing of the Cabinet Committee on Security, the third one, in which success was announced, following which, of course, Prime Minister in the Cabinet congratulated our armed forces. That's how Operation Sindoor was executed, in complete silence, with great resolve, and of course, the wherewithal and the superior competence of India's armed forces, and more crucially, our security intelligence apparatus helmed by National Security Advisor Ajit Doval.
India strikes back with Operation Sindoor, targeting 9 terror camps in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir in response to the Pahalgam terror attack. Over 100 terrorists killed, including Qari Muhammad Iqbal, a key figure in the Pulwama attack. Precision missile strikes from Indian airspace hit camps like Kotli, exposing Pakistan's backing of terror. Take a look. Jammu and Kashmir Police and the SOG launched a massive checking operation to ensure civilian safety after Pakistan's unprovoked shelling targets civilians and religious places, including a Gurdwara where 3 Indians lost their life. Relief assistance is being provided to affected civilians as authorities work to prevent further harm. Here's a report by my colleague Harsha.
Strict and continuously after yesterday when the Operation Sindoor was carried out, 100% strike, precision strike was carried out at the Pakistan 9 targets of the terrorist camps, and right now we see that the SOG and the Jammu and Kashmir police is right now carrying out the search and the march at several places. Right now what we see in the picture is the madrasa where the police official along with the SOG team have reached, and there's the visuals on our screen where we can see that the intensified search is being carried out, because this becomes very much important after what happened yesterday along the LOC in the Poonch region. There were several places which were targeted by Pakistan. The civilians were targeted and the religious places was also targeted, from temple, Gurdwara, madrasas and masjid. Several places were on the target of the Pakistan army, and that is the reason in the Poonch area 4-6 in the Gurdwara have lost their lives and several civilians were also injured. But right now what we see is that these thorough checks is being carried out to ensure that none of the civilian is stuck in any of the premises and in any of the infrastructure.
Let me now take you through the other segment of the forces first. Ex-servicemen in the valley lauded the forces on the successful airstrikes on Pakistani terror launch pads in retaliation to the Pahalgam attack. Rajnath Singh, the district president of the ex-servicemen League, Doda, the blood of all citizens was boiling after the savage terror attack in Pahalgam. He also lauded the centre for its stern resolve in striking back at Pakistan 14 days after the dastardly Pahalgam killings. India's air defence capabilities took centre stage late Wednesday night as Indian Air Force's S-400 Sudarshan Chakra air defence missile systems played a decisive role in thwarting a Pakistani attempt to escalate hostilities by targeting Indian cities. Following the engagement, the projectiles were neutralised by the integrated counter-UAS grid and air defence systems. Assam Rifles intercepted two Swift Desire vehicles suspected of trafficking contraband from Moreh to Imphal. During the operation, the forces recovered 19 soap cases containing suspected heroin, approximately 205 grams valued at 82 lakh rupees. One individual is apprehended and both the seized narcotics and the suspect were handed over to Tengunapal police for further investigation. In a major crackdown in the war against drugs in Punjab, the counter-intelligence unit of Firozpur conducted two swift operations dismantling a cross-border narco-smuggling network and apprehending 3 smugglers. A massive blow to Pakistan's security forces. A deadly IED blast in Balochistan's Bolan region has left 14 soldiers neutralized, with the Baloch Liberation Army claiming responsibility. The BLA fighters have also now released a chilling 5-minute video capturing the brutal attack. This is just the latest in a series of high-profile strikes by the BLA as their agitation and war against Islamabad intensifies. Here's that report.
It's caught on camera how Pakistani soldiers were blown to bits. The Balochistan Liberation Army has released a 5-minute video that captures the targeted attack on Munir Army personnel. The clip first captures 12 Pakistani Army officials conducting drills for route clearance. And minutes later, a white van carrying the soldiers are blown apart in a massive IED explosion in the Machkund area of Bolan. The Bolan blast is the latest in a spate of targeted attacks carried out by the BLA against Pakistan's forces. Pakistan is grappling with rising internal turmoil, with the Baloch Liberation Army seeking freedom. And the uprising is such that the BLA rebels are up in arms against the Shehbaz Sharif government. 22 Pakistani soldiers were killed in Turbat after a face-off with the BLA. 4 guards of the former Home Minister of Balochistan, who the BLA claims has now turned into a proxy for Islamabad, were gunned down. And back in March, the BLA hijacked the Jafar Express passenger train, killing 60+ Pakistani soldiers and taking 300 others into hostage. The BLA-Pakistan tensions escalate at a time when Islamabad is attempting to come to terms with India's payback for the Pahalgam terror attack. And with a rising crisis at its western border, Pakistan has completely lost the plot.
Well, let me also once again take you through the another segment on forces first.
Sindoor means we all lost our husbands. That means our lives. One way I should thank to Modi that we are so innocent people. They saw Modi on us. So Modi also owned us and took this revenge on them.
We are expecting more. We are thinking that this is a beginning, and definitely Modi ji government will make it more like impacting the economy of the Pakistan, and definitely there should not be any terrorist attack in future in India. They definitely need to get afraid to at least kill one person in India. So that way the impact should be there. I think still we are thinking that this is only a starting for today, and definitely we are going to continue to exactly fight along with the Pakistan.
Good news heard by the entire nation, that is attack on Pakistan, particularly where the terrorists, where they hidden in Pakistan and POK, all hidden places.
मर जाता तो बेहतर होता। जब तू वहां मार रहा था तब क्या था? लोगों को बेगुनाह लोगों का कत्ल कर रहा था, लोगों को उकसा करके यहाँ भेज करके आतंकवादी घटनाएं करा रहा था। तब क्या था? जब किसी के बच्चे नहीं मर रहे थे। उनके दिल का दर्द का एहसास आज होगा ना, जब अपने गए हैं तब एहसास हो रहा है कि मौत का दर्द क्या होता है, या सिर्फ दूसरों को मौत परोसना जानते हैं।
हम पूरे हिंदुस्तान को गर्व है अपनी आर्मी में, अपने डिफेंस सिस्टम में, पर साथ ही साथ पाकिस्तान जो है अपनी हरकतों से बाज नहीं आ रहा है। ऐसा समझ आ रहा है कि लगातार जो कायराना हरकतें हैं, कभी नहीं थे जो हमारे नागरिक हैं उनको पहलगाम में उनको शहीद किया, और अब और कुछ नहीं बच रहा। पाकिस्तान की इतनी हालत नहीं, इतनी हिम्मत नहीं कि इंडियन आर्मी से डायरेक्ट फाइट करे।
They are all terrorists. The aim of the terrorist to eliminate the terrorist. The terrorist problem is not only the problem of India, it is a problem of the world. Wherever terrorism is there, all the countries must unite and see to it terrorism must be eliminated.
Pakistan's terror empire is in ruins. India's Operation Sindoor delivered a crushing blow to the terrorist infrastructure. The visuals are a testament to India's resolve to take on terrorism head-on. Pakistan's ability to harbor, nurture terror has been severely compromised. The era of impunity is completely over. Watch this on your screens. On the other side, we'll be back with the debate with Arnab.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IIHM.
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते।
तो फैंस हैं, शोर तो करेंगे ही ना।
नए वाले नहीं करते। And they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
सिली में आए तो और
Cricket fans.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रूंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रूंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
अगर उन्होंने 4 की यार्ड करेंगे, डेरा मस्ती खाली करोगे भाई। हाँ देखना वाम कैसे आ रही है वहां से। कैच होगी नहीं होगी।
I think we can see an explosion. We hear an explosion. Jets here, jets hovering. We're right in Srinagar, and we saw. We can actually smell some smoke, and the sky at one part became red. There was an explosion sound, very much visible. Seems there is panic across the border. So we report from Srinagar right now.
At Amity, we are committed to building a stronger India through world-class education and research to nurture ideal citizens who, together with the leaders of today and tomorrow, will make India a world superpower. Amity University, India's leading not-for-profit private university.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
MDH दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
Of different weapon systems, because you cannot risk putting all eggs in one basket.
ये मस्जिद तैयबा मरकज उमर करा के अंदर ये नुकसान है।
Not risk putting all eggs in one basket. Risk putting all eggs in one basket.
Mender here,
These
and
are
most
some
of the
visuals. I can see some.
are at the LOC.
No. This is a long shot. I can see in the sky there's somebody who shot something to light.
लीकेज है, लीकेज भी है। हाँ लीकेज है। आ गया मेरे पीछे नजर आवा, पीछे दूर। पीछो।
ये नुकसान, ये 9 नंबर। ये मस्जिद तैयबा मरकज उमर करा के अंदर नुकसान है।
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते।
सर फैंस हैं, शोर तो करेंगे ही ना।
नए वाले नहीं करते। And they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
Silly me, I thought.
Cricket fans.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IIHM.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
क्या हो गया भाई?
भैया आपसे सीखकर म्यूचुअल फंड्स में SIP शुरू की थी, लेकिन कभी कभी अपडेट्स देखकर मेरा मन भटकने लगता है।
अरे अपने मन को बोल, म्यूचुअल फंड्स टिके रहने का गेम है।
मतलब SIP चालू रखूं?
सुन, ये लिफ्ट जब ऊपर नीचे जाती है तो तू निकल जाता है।
नहीं भैया, यही तो सही मंजिल तक ले जाती है।
तो बस म्यूचुअल फंड्स का भी यही है, दूर की सोचेगा और डटे रहेगा तो तू भी अपने सपनों के पास पहुंच सकता है।
हाँ बिल्कुल आपकी तरह।
सही है।
म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से जुड़े सभी दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिर्फ जलजीरा मसाला।
पाकिस्तान इंडिया ने जंग शुरू कर दी है। अभी मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के जो है मदरसा है उसके ऊपर 4 मिसाइल दागे गए हैं। 4 मिसाइलों के साथ हमला किया गया है मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर। हम अपनी अफवाज पाकिस्तान के साथ खड़े हैं, लेकिन मेरा सवाल है कि हमारी एजेंसीज कहाँ सोई हुई थी, हमारी अफवाज पाकिस्तान कहाँ सोई हुई थी जब ये हमला हुआ। मुजफ्फराबाद की भी खबर आ रही है कि मुजफ्फराबाद वाली साइड पे भी ये अटैक हुआ है, लेकिन सबसे पहले मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर अटैक हुआ है बैलिस्टिक मिसाइल के साथ उन्होंने हमला किया है। मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं। अभी ये कहना कबल वक्त है कि गोया कितनी सच्चाई है इस खबर की, किस साइड से ये मिसाइल आए हैं, ये अभी कन्फर्म होना बाकी है। लेकिन ये कन्फर्म न्यूज़ है कि उनके मदरसे के ऊपर 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं।
At Amity, we are committed to building a stronger India through world-class education and research, to nurture ideal citizens who, together with the leaders of today and tomorrow, will make India a world superpower. Amity University, India's leading not-for-profit private university.
MDH की देगी मीरज,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मीरज।
Unlike in 2019 when we had hit Balakot, which was in the
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
On the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's Operation Sindoor 2. In complete action, India has clinically intercepted Pakistani missiles, and we've set the record straight. At 9 p.m. tonight, why I feel Pakistan has made a huge mistake by escalating the attack. The response now is on our terms. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. I just want to begin by saying that this Sindoor 2 operation which has started is entirely and totally because of Pakistan's decision to escalate the conflict. We didn't want to escalate, but they escalated it. And they escalated it by, in the stealth of darkness, early this morning, they tried to carry out an attack on 15 Indian towns and cities. They wanted to attack civilians. They wanted to kill millions of Indians. And therefore, we have to set the record straight. Viewers, the places where they tried to target, and these are the visuals of the interceptions. The Pakistani missiles were intercepted in various areas. That particular visual is over Amritsar, where they tried to attack Amritsar, and they wanted to attack Avantipura, Srinagar, Jammu, Pathankot, Amritsar, Kapurthala, Jalandhar, Ludhiana, Adampur, Bhatinda, Chandigarh, Nal, Falodi, Uttarlai and Bhuj in Gujarat. They were trying to attack all these Indian locations using drones and missiles, and these are the visuals of the debris which has been collected in various parts. These are missile debris, projectile debris, and found in open fields. Some of these visuals are from Punjab's Amritsar. This is not social media news. This is factual ground-based reporting. Our reporter Vivek was reporting from Ground Zero and sent us these visuals. All of these all of these interceptions that we have done is because of a very effective system called the S-400 missile system. Not a single projectile from Pakistan landed on target, thankfully, and they were all intercepted by the system which is called the Sudarshan Chakra defense system, which is the S-400 Sudarshan Chakra defense system. This is like Israel's Iron Dome in a way. It can track missiles from about 600 kilometers away and intercept these missiles within a 400-kilometer range. This is a Russian-based system, and it's a fantastic system and a beautiful system. Now, we were compelled to target and attack Pakistan back. The visuals from Pakistan from very early this morning show visuals from different cities in Pakistan getting attacked by India. Now, these attacks by India are not on civilian locations. They are not on military installations. They are not on civilian targets. These are not on hospitals. These are on air defense systems of Pakistan. We have targeted the air defense systems, the air defense radars and systems in various number of locations in Pakistan, and we have done so publicly. Pakistanis have been recording the Indian attacks. We have attacked Gujranwala. We have attacked Chakwal, we have attacked Chor, we have attacked Atak, but most importantly, we have attacked Karachi, we have attacked Bahawalpur, and we have attacked Rawalpindi. The air defense systems in these places are now severely damaged, and Pakistan is very, very vulnerable. If we choose to attack, we can clearly attack them extremely hard. It's therefore natural to be scared. We had videos of Pakistani YouTubers. I don't know if we can play that particular video. There was a video of a Pakistani YouTuber where he said, how is it that when India attacks, then we are totally, our systems don't intercept them. But when we attack, then the Indians can intercept every single system of theirs. Well, the reason is because we have the Sudarshan Chakra system. They have nothing that is comparative. In the Pakistan Assembly today, some politicians stood up and they started crying. They started weeping. The scenes in the Pakistan National Assembly were pathetic. This is a defenseless country. It knows that its army has collapsed. Its air force is not working. And therefore, they were saying, may Allah help us. They're now turning to God. But the visual that I want to play that soundbite of that YouTuber, which is very, very revealing. Let's play the soundbite where he questions why Pakistan's air defense systems don't work.
कल रात इंडिया ने पाकिस्तान के ऊपर 24 मिसाइल हमले किए और हैरानगी की बात यह है कि तकरीबन सारे मिसाइल अपने टारगेट के ऊपर जाके लगे। इंडिया ने जो टारगेट सेट किया हुआ था, इंडिया ने वो टारगेट अचीव किया। और इससे बढ़ के हैरानगी की बात यह है कि पाकिस्तान का दिफाई निजाम, हमारा डिफेंस सिस्टम एक भी मिसाइल को इंटरसेप्ट नहीं कर सकते, एक भी मिसाइल को हम रोक नहीं सकते। सारे हमले हम रोकने में नाकाम रहे। एग्जैक्ट जो इंडिया ने टारगेट अचीव करना था वो अचीव किया है। वो जो कहते हैं ना कि इंडिया ने घुस के मारना था, इंडिया ने वाकई घुस के मारा और हम उसके मिसाइलों को रोक नहीं सके। ये हकीकत है। दूसरी अफवाहें ये फैलाई जा रही थी, सारी रात को पाकिस्तानी मीडिया लगा हुआ था, सोशल मीडिया के ऊपर तमाम झूठ पॉलिसियां लगे हुए थे। वो पाकिस्तान ने इंडिया के जहाज गिरा दी हैं। वो सारी पिक्चर्स मैंने देखी, कोई 8 महीने पुरानी है, कोई 3 साल पुरानी है। हमने इंडिया का वो जनरल हेडक्वार्टर गिरा दिया, पता नहीं क्या गिरा दिया। वो मैंने सर्च किया, वो भी फेक न्यूज फैलाई हुई है।
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a Pakistani YouTuber, and he tells the story. He asks his relevant questions of his government. And then in the Pakistan National Assembly, there were terrible scenes where they all started crying. There was collecting weeping in the assembly, and they said, will God help us? Will Allah help us? And then one after the other, Pakistani senators were weeping and crying and asking, the ghost of Jinnah to come and help them. They were asking God to come and help them. And here is a clip. This particular man, for example, is a ex-Pakistan Army major, who is now a senator, and just look at the body language. His name is Tahir Iqbal.
तो इसलिए जनाब स्पीकर ये बात वाज़ा कर देनी चाहिए, हमारी कौम यकजा है। मैं इन सब से कहूँगा कि मिल के चलो और अपने रब से रजू करो। रब काबा, हम तेरे आगे दरख्वास्त करते हैं, इस मुल्क की हिफाजत फरमाना जो तूने हमें अता किया है, और ये नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की दुआओं का है। आपने कायदे आज़म को इंग्लैंड में मुलाकात की, ख्वाब में आए और उनको कहा कि जाओ वापस और जाके पाकिस्तान का मामला हल करो। आप खान अफ़क़लात को ख्वाब में आके ये हुक्म दिया कि तुमने पाकिस्तान की सरना है, ये मुल्क बन के रहेगा और तुमने तो ये ऐसा बड़ा मौजज़ा है कि अल्लाह पाक ने ये हमें अता किया है और अल्लाह पाक इस मुल्क की हिफाजत फरमाएंगे। दुनिया में जहां भी देखें शायद हमारी कमी है, हम मजबूर हैं, हम गुनाहगार हैं, लेकिन रब ने कहा हम तेरे हबीब के उम्मती हैं, खुदा का वास्ता हमसे रहम का मौला फरमा। आप चले जाएं, उधर फिलिस्तीन में चले जाएं, कश्मीर में चले जाएं, जहां भी जाएंगे मुसलमानों के साथ वो ऐसे हो रहा है जो हम सोच भी नहीं सकते.
These are the kind of scenes that we've seen. These politicians so weak, they're running a weak government. Their army has been exposed. Nobody is there to help them. But the Pakistanis have no shame. They will continue to do this. I want to say send the next visual. There were about 50 senior army officers of the Pakistani army when the funeral was held at the headquarters of the Lashkar-e-Toiba. Can I play those visuals, please? When you see these visuals, you will see that there are about 50 army officers led by the Lashkar-e-Toiba. There is, after this, no question which can be asked of the military political establishment. The leaders, that is Masood Azhar's brother's coffin, which is carried in a Pakistani flag. Masood Azhar's brother, ladies and gentlemen, Rauf Azhar, his coffin is being carried. This is the man who was responsible for the parliament attacks, for the Pathankot attack, for the Bahawalpur strike, for the IC-814 hijack. This is his picture out there. He's the operational head of the Jaish-e-Mohammed. And when his coffin was being carried, it was carried by Pakistani soldiers, ladies and gentlemen, and it was wrapped in the Pakistani flag. So the whole Pakistani game is up. Viewers, I'll break this program up into two parts. I will first analyze right now, after this quick news report, what has happened, which led to the situation as of right now, which is Sindoor 2. And at 9 o'clock, I will discuss what could happen, whether there will be Sindoor 3 and Sindoor 4, and how far this can escalate.
India struck Abbas terrorist camp, a Lashkar center, and in the next half an hour, India eliminated 100 terrorists at 9 locations in planned and precise strikes. In a big victory, terror dens were decimated, terrorists eliminated, Kandahar hijack mastermind and Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar's brother Rauf Azhar was also killed in one of the 9 locations. Pakistan in fact exposed itself by giving a state funeral to terrorists, and Pakistani army and ISI officials attended it. India put out an official statement detailing that Indian actions were measured, restrained and calibrated, and that no civilian site was targeted.
Our intention has not been to escalate matters. We are only responding to the original escalation, as I said, and our response has been targeted, precise, controlled and measured. Only no military targets have been selected. Only terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan has been hit.
While India carried out precision strikes on terror camps, Pakistan showed its true colors by attacking a Gurudwara in Poonch.
I am in one of the Gurdwaras in the main bazaar of Poonch district. This is Gurdwara, this is a religious place, and how this place was targeted by Pakistan from the other side of the LOC.
But in Pakistan, it was a state of confusion that persisted for their civilians to politicians.
पाकिस्तानी और इंडिया ने जंग शुरू कर दी है. अभी मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के जो है मदरसा है उसके ऊपर 4 मिसाइल दागे गए हैं. 4 मिसाइलों के साथ हमला किया गया है मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर. हम अपनी अफवाज पाकिस्तान के साथ खड़े हैं.
Pakistani politicians took the delusion to another level when they falsely claimed of shooting down Indian jets and quoted social media as a source of information.
It's all over the social media, on Indian social media, not on our social media. The debris of these jets fell into Indian occupied Kashmir, and it's all over Indian media today.
Unable to save face, Pakistan tried to attack 15 cities with a population of over 1 crore 25 lakhs with their missiles and drones. On the night of May 7th and 8th, India slept peacefully with zero impact and woke up to the debris of Pakistan's failed projectiles.
3 फीट की इसकी लंबाई है और ये रात के 1:10 के आसपास ही गिरा हुआ है, जब लगातार आवाज सुनाई गई थी धमाके की। उसके बाद पूरे शहर में, ग्रामीण इलाकों में, उसके अलावा पूरे शहर में ब्लैकआउट कर दिया गया था।
रॉकेट लॉन्चर के जो पीस है वो मेरे घर के छत के ऊपर, वो जो आसपास के गांव के छत के ऊपर वो उसके टुकड़े मिले। पुलिस को कॉल की और पुलिस आई और वो जो जितने पुर्जे थे वो सारी रिकवर करके लेगी। तो सुबह से ही हमारे गांव में, अमृतसर में वो दहशत का माहौल बना हुआ है।
On your screen is the evidence of Pakistan's failed attempt. On the other hand, Pakistan woke up to complete chaos. There were reports of explosion, destruction and fire. We said it, we did it. In the afternoon, Indian forces confirmed that Pakistan air defense system was decimated by India.
India has demonstrated considerable restraint in its response. However, it must be said that the Indian armed forces are fully prepared to respond to Pakistani misadventures, if any, that will escalate this situation.
India's S-400 Sudarshan Chakra air defense systems neutralized all targets moving towards India.
Remember, just like the Rafales, S-400 was not available to Indian Air Force during the 2019 Balakot air strikes. Along with the beyond visual range capable missiles atop the Rafales, S-400 and Akash provided the kind of defense shield that helped IAF inflict costs on Pakistan and take down their air defense systems.
India is clear. It's an ongoing operation.
कुछ इंक्वायरीज, कुछ इंफॉर्मेशंस मांगे हैं। रक्षा मंत्री ने कहा है कि ये ऑनगोइंग ऑपरेशन है, इसलिए पूरे एक घटना को अलग से ब्रीफिंग या अलग से उसको प्रेजेंटेशन करना सही नहीं है, क्योंकि घटना चल रही है, आप सबको मालूम है, इसलिए उसको उस तरीके से ब्रीफिंग नहीं होते हैं। इसमें पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज का ब्रॉड कंसेंसस के लिए ये बैठक था।
Fear has gripped Pakistan. Their politicians are already crying.
दुनिया में जहां भी देखें शायद हमारी कमी है, हम मजबूर हैं, हम गुनाहगार हैं, लेकिन रब ने कहा हम तेरे हबीब के उम्मती हैं, खुदा का वास्ता हमसे रहम का मौला फरमा।
India's action and communication is crystal clear.
Our response was targeted and measured. It is not our intention to escalate the situation. However, if there are military attacks on us, there should be no doubt that it will be met with a very, very firm response.
We have not escalated it. Pakistan has, and the terror nation must brace for response. India is hitting Pakistan hard and is going to unmask the TRF facade next.
Pakistan is also home to a very large number of UN proscribed as well as UN proscribed terrorists, as well as terrorists proscribed by a number of other governments in the world.
Operation Sindoor is not over.
It is related to operational matters. It's been released by the Ministry of Defence. As more information becomes available, it will be released at the appropriate time. Once again, please don't go into operational details at this point in time, because this is a constantly evolving situation.
India is exercising its right to defend.
ये 22 अप्रैल के पहलगाम के हमले से शुरू हुआ है। एस्केलेशन वहां पे हुआ है और